The elevator doors opened to reveal a woman who shouldn't have been there. Blood trickled from a cut on Olivia Hart's temple as she stumbled forward, her designer heels clicking unevenly on marble. Chicago's most powerful CEO looked nothing like her magazine covers tonight. Lucas Bennett froze, grease-stained hands still gripping his toolbox. This wasn't supposed to happen. She wasn't supposed to see him. More importantly, she wasn't supposed to collapse against his chest, whispering words that would shatter everything he thought he knew about safety. Please don't let me go back up there alone. If you're ready for a story about unexpected courage, dangerous secrets, and the collision of two impossible worlds, stay until the end. Hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. The fluorescent lights in the basement maintenance corridor flickered with their usual rhythm, casting shadows that danced across water-stained concrete walls. Lucas Bennett moved through the dimness with practiced ease, his boots making soft scraping sounds against the gritty floor. The building above him hummed with the quiet energy of after-hours corporate life. A few executives burning midnight oil, cleaning crews beginning their rounds, security guards watching monitors that showed empty hallways. Down here, in the mechanical heart of Hartfield Tower, Lucas existed in a different world entirely. He knelt beside an electrical panel, his weathered hands moving with the precision of someone who'd spent 15 years learning the language of circuits and switches. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the cool air. The panel had been acting up for weeks, throwing error codes that didn't make sense, causing brownouts on the upper floors at random intervals. Lucas had been chasing the ghost in this machine for days. "Come on," he muttered, tracing a wire with his finger. "Tell me what's wrong." His phone buzzed in his pocket. Lucas didn't need to look to know it was a text from Mrs. Chen, his neighbor who watched 7-year-old Ava on nights when work ran late. The message would be the same as always. "Ava's asleep. Take your time. We're fine." Mrs. Chen never complained, but Lucas felt the weight of obligation every time. 3 years of late nights, emergency calls, weekend shifts. 3 years of being both mother and father to a little girl who still sometimes cried for the woman who wasn't coming back. The wire in his hand sparked suddenly, bright and sharp. Lucas jerked back, cursing under his breath. The entire panel went dark for a moment, then blazed back to life. Somewhere above him, he heard the distant sound of an elevator alarm. "Damn it!" Lucas grabbed his radio from his belt. "Control, this is Bennett. Did we just lose power to the north elevator bank?" Static crackled for a moment before Jerry's voice came through. "Yeah, we got a stall on elevator 3. Showing stopped between 12 and 13. You want to handle it? Or should I send Rodriguez?" Lucas was already moving, gathering his tools. "I got it. I'm in the basement already." "Copy that. FYI, building's pretty empty. Shouldn't be anyone stuck in there." But Jerry was wrong. Lucas took the service stairs 2 at a time, his toolbox banging against his leg. The stairwell smelled like concrete and old paint, sounds echoing in the narrow space. 12 flights up, he pushed through the door into the 12th floor hallway. The corporate silence here felt oppressive. Thick carpet muffled his footsteps. Recessed lighting created pools of amber warmth every few feet. Abstract art hung on walls painted in soothing grays and blues. This was a world designed to project power and success, so different from the utilitarian concrete where Lucas spent most of his time. He approached the elevator bank, pulling out his override key. The middle elevator showed a red indicator light. Lucas pressed the intercom button. "Hello? Anyone in there?" Silence. Then, "Yes?" The voice was female, measured, controlled. "Yes, I'm here." Something in that voice made Lucas pause. It carried an edge he couldn't quite identify. Not panic, not fear exactly. Something else. "Okay, don't worry. I'm going to get you out. Can you tell me what happened?" The elevator just stopped. The lights flickered and everything went dark for a moment. Then the emergency lights came on. "Are you injured?" A pause. "No, I'm fine." Lucas began working on the override panel, but something made him keep talking. That strange quality in her voice. "My name's Lucas. I'm with building maintenance. We had a power fluctuation that caused the elevator to safety stop. I'm going to manually release the brake and get the doors open, okay?" "Okay." Another pause. "Thank you, Lucas." He worked quickly, his hands moving through the familiar sequence. Release the brake. Check the position. Ensure the car was level with the floor. The machinery responded smoothly, and within minutes, Lucas had the doors beginning to slide open. That's when everything changed. The woman who stood in the elevator wasn't supposed to be there. Not at this hour. Not looking like this. Lucas recognized Olivia Hart immediately. Anyone who worked in Hartfield Tower knew the CEO by sight. Her face appeared on the building's promotional materials, in Chicago business magazines, sometimes even in national news coverage. She was a figure of power, always photographed in perfect business attire, always composed, always in control. But the woman facing him now looked nothing like those carefully crafted images. Her dark hair, usually pulled back in an immaculate style, hung loose around her shoulders. Her white blouse was partially untucked, buttons askew. Mascara traced dark lines down her cheeks. And there, just above her left temple, a thin line of blood ran from a small cut. Lucas's training kicked in immediately. "You're hurt." Olivia's hand went to her temple, touching the blood as if she'd forgotten it was there. "It's nothing. I'm fine." "That's not nothing. You need that looked at." Lucas stepped into the elevator, setting down his toolbox. "What happened?" For a moment, Olivia just stared at him. Her eyes, gray-green, Lucas noticed, held something he couldn't read. Fear? Exhaustion? Then her carefully maintained composure cracked just slightly. "I tripped," she said. "When the lights went out. Fell against the handrail." Lucas pulled a clean cloth from his pocket, the kind he always carried for wiping tools. "May I?" She nodded, and he gently pressed the cloth to her temple. This close, he could smell her perfume, something expensive and subtle. Could see that her hands were trembling slightly. "You should probably have someone check this out properly," Lucas said quietly. "Head wounds can be tricky." "I said I'm fine." The CEO voice returned, sharp and dismissive, then softer. "Sorry, I need to go home." Lucas stepped back, giving her space. As Olivia moved past him into the hallway, she stumbled slightly, and Lucas instinctively reached out to steady her. His grease-stained hand caught her arm, and for a moment they both froze. "Thank you," Olivia whispered. Then she pulled away, walking quickly toward the executive suite at the end of the hall, her heels clicking unevenly on the carpet. Lucas watched her go, confusion churning in his gut. Something was wrong. The cut on her head, the smeared makeup, the way she'd been alone in the building at nearly midnight, the trembling hands and that look in her eyes. It wasn't his business. Lucas had learned long ago to keep his head down, do his job, and not ask questions about the lives of people who existed in the upper floors of power. His world and Olivia Hart's world didn't intersect, not really, despite both of them occupying the same building. He gathered his tools and headed back downstairs, but the image of her face stayed with him. The next morning arrived with the chaos that had become Lucas's routine. Ava bounced into his room at 6 a.m., her small body launching onto his bed like she did every morning. "Daddy, wake up! It's pancake day!" Lucas groaned, pulling his daughter into a hug. "Every day is pancake day according to you." "Because pancakes are the best." Ava's dark curls, so much like her mother's, tickled his face as she snuggled close. "Can we have chocolate chips?" "We can have exactly 3 chocolate chips per pancake, just like always." "That's not enough." "That's what you say every time, Bug." Lucas sat up, rubbing sleep from his eyes. "Come on, let's get you ready for school." The morning routine unfolded with practiced efficiency. Ava chattering while Lucas made breakfast, burning the first pancake as usual, successfully flipping the rest. Ava insisting she could get dressed by herself, then appearing in a combination of stripes and polka dots that made Lucas smile, despite knowing Mrs. Chen would probably help her change later. The rush to pack her backpack, find her missing left shoe, and get out the door in time for the school bus. "Love you, Daddy," Ava called, running toward the bus stop where other kids were gathering. "Love you more," Lucas called back, watching until she was safely on the bus before heading to his own truck. The drive to Hartfield Tower took 40 minutes through morning traffic. Lucas used the time to listen to podcasts about home repair, occasionally jotting down notes at red lights. He was teaching himself advanced electrical work, hoping to eventually get his contractor's license. Someday, maybe, he could start his own business, work his own hours, be there when Ava got home from school instead of relying on Mrs. Chen's endless patience. Someday. The word felt both hopeful and impossibly distant. The service entrance to Hartfield Tower looked nothing like the grand lobby where executives and visitors entered. Lucas parked in the underground lot, badged through a plain metal door, and descended into the fluorescent-lit break room where the maintenance crew gathered each morning. "Bennett," Rodriguez called out, looking up from his coffee. "Heard you had some excitement last night." "Just a stuck elevator. Nothing major." "Jerry said you rescued the Ice Queen herself." Rodriguez grinned. "That true?" Lucas felt his jaw tighten. "I got someone out of a stuck elevator. That's the job." "Easy, man. I'm just saying, that's probably the closest most of us will ever get to Her Majesty." Rodriguez leaned back in his chair. "What was she like? Did she even say thank you?" "She's a person, Rodriguez, same as anyone else. A person who makes in one day what we make in a year, but sure, same as anyone else." Marcus Williams, the crew chief, walked in before Lucas could respond. "All right, guys, listen up. We've got a busy day. Bennett, I need you on the HVAC system for floors 15 through 20. Been getting complaints about temperature fluctuations." The day settled into familiar patterns. Lucas moved through the building's hidden spaces, maintenance corridors, mechanical rooms, the narrow crawlways between floors where ductwork and pipes created a maze only the crew understood. He liked this work, the tangible problem-solving, the satisfaction of fixing something that was broken. Around noon, while Lucas was elbow-deep in an air handler on the 17th floor, his radio crackled. "Bennett, you there?" "Yeah, Marcus. What's up?" "Need you to do a maintenance check in the executive suite. Someone reported a light flickering in the CEO's office." Lucas paused, wrench in hand. "Can't Rodriguez handle that?" "He's dealing with a plumbing issue on 9. You're closest. Should be quick." "Copy that." Lucas gathered his tools with a strange reluctance. The executive suite occupied the entire top floor of Hartfield Tower, a space he rarely visited. The carpet up there was thicker, the art more expensive, the silence more profound. It was a different world, one where Lucas always felt acutely aware of his work-worn clothes and calloused hands. The elevator ride to the top floor felt longer than usual. Lucas found himself checking his reflection in the polished metal doors, noticing a grease stain on his shirt collar that he'd missed that morning. He tried to wipe it away, then felt foolish for caring. The executive suite receptionist, a polished woman in her 50s named Patricia, looked up when Lucas approached. "Oh good, you're here. Ms. Hart's office. The light over her desk has been flickering all morning." Patricia lowered her voice slightly. "She's in a meeting right now, but it should be fine to work in there. Just be quiet, please." Lucas nodded and moved through the suite, past glass-walled conference rooms where important-looking people discussed important-looking things. Olivia's office sat at the far end, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Chicago's skyline. The door was slightly ajar. Lucas could hear voices, Olivia and someone else, male, the tone professional but strained. "The board is asking questions, Olivia. They want to know why you're pushing back on the Meridian acquisition." "Because the numbers don't work, Richard. We'd be over-leveraging ourselves for a company with declining market share." "The optics are good. That's what matters." "No." Olivia's voice carried steel. "What matters is sustainable growth, not flashy acquisitions that look good in press releases but damage the company long-term." Lucas knocked quietly on the doorframe. The voices stopped. "Come in," Olivia called. Lucas entered, keeping his eyes down. "Sorry to interrupt. I'm just here to check the light fixture." The man sitting across from Olivia, silver-haired, expensive suit, looked at Lucas with barely concealed irritation. "How long will this take?" "Just a few minutes, sir. We'll continue this later, Richard." Olivia's tone made it clear the discussion was over. "I have another meeting in 15 minutes anyway." Richard stood, straightening his tie. "Think about what I said, Olivia. The board isn't going to wait forever." He left without acknowledging Lucas. The office fell quiet except for the soft hum of the city beyond the windows. Lucas pulled out his ladder, trying to make himself as unobtrusive as possible. He climbed up to examine the fixture above Olivia's desk, aware that she hadn't left the room. "How's your head?" The question came out before Lucas could stop himself. Olivia looked up from her computer, surprise flashing across her face. "I'm sorry?" "Last night, you cut your temple. I just wondered if you'd had it checked out." For a moment, Olivia just stared at him. Then something in her expression softened, just barely. It's fine, just a scratch. Lucas could see a small bandage partially hidden by her hair. Good. He returned his attention to the light fixture, checking the connections. Loose wire, simple fix. He worked quietly, but the silence felt heavy, expectant somehow. You have a daughter, Olivia said suddenly. Lucas nearly dropped his screwdriver. How did you... You mentioned her once. A few months ago when you were fixing the elevator on the 6th floor. You got a call from your neighbor about picking her up from school. Lucas didn't remember that conversation, didn't remember Olivia being anywhere nearby. The fact that she'd noticed, that she'd remembered, unsettled him. Yeah. Ava, she's 7. That must be difficult, managing work and raising a child alone. There was something in her voice that made Lucas look down from the ladder. Olivia was watching him with an expression he couldn't quite read. Not pity, exactly. Something more complicated. We manage, Lucas said carefully. She's a good kid. I'm sure she is. The light fixture hummed back to life, steady and bright. Lucas climbed down, putting away his tools. He should leave. This conversation was straying into territory that made him uncomfortable. The crossing of invisible lines that separated people like him from people like Olivia Hart. But something made him pause at the door. Ms. Hart, if you don't mind me asking, what were you doing in the building so late last night? Olivia's expression shuddered immediately, the warmth disappearing behind professional walls. Working, like I do every night. Right, of course. Lucas felt stupid for asking. I should go. Lucas. He stopped, surprised by the use of his first name. Olivia stood, moving from behind her desk. Up close, in the bright office light, Lucas could see shadows under her eyes that makeup didn't quite hide. Thank you for last night and for asking about my head just now. It's nothing, just doing my job. Is it just your job to care whether people are okay? The question caught Lucas off guard. He thought about it, about the way he checked on elderly tenants in his apartment building, helped Mrs. Chen carry groceries up the stairs, listened when Jerry talked about his divorce. Maybe caring wasn't part of the job description, but it was part of who he was. I guess I just think everyone deserves to be treated like they matter, Lucas said finally. Something flickered in Olivia's eyes, surprise or recognition or something else entirely. That's a rare philosophy in this building. Maybe you're in the wrong building then. The words came out before Lucas could filter them. He tensed, waiting for offense, for the CEO to put him in his place. But instead, Olivia laughed, a real laugh, startled and genuine. Maybe I am, she said quietly. The moment stretched between them, strange and fragile. Then Patricia's voice came through the intercom. Ms. Hart, your 2 o'clock is here. Send them in. Olivia's professional mask slipped back into place, but her eyes stayed on Lucas a moment longer. Thank you again. Lucas nodded and left, his mind churning with confusion as he headed back to the elevator. That conversation had felt like something, though he couldn't quite name what. A connection, maybe. A crack in the careful distance that separated their worlds. He shook his head, pushing the thought away. Olivia Hart was the CEO of a major corporation. He was a maintenance guy with a second-hand truck and an apartment that always smelled like whatever Mrs. Chen was cooking next door. The idea that there could be anything between them was ridiculous, wasn't it? That night, after putting Ava to bed, Lucas stood at his apartment window looking out at the city. Somewhere out there, in a penthouse or luxury condo he couldn't imagine, Olivia Hart was probably still working, still alone in her world of conference calls and board meetings and decisions that affected hundreds of people. He thought about the trembling in her hands, the blood on her temple, the way she'd looked when she said she was fine, even though Lucas could see she wasn't. His phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Rodriguez called out sick tomorrow. Can you cover his morning routes? Lucas typed back. Yeah, no problem. More hours, less sleep. But the overtime meant Ava could do dance lessons in the fall, something she'd been begging for. It meant maybe fixing the truck's transmission before it gave out completely. It meant survival, the same careful juggling act Lucas had been performing for 3 years. He thought about Olivia's question. That must be difficult, managing work and raising a child alone. Difficult didn't begin to cover it. There were mornings when Lucas woke up exhausted before the day even started. Nights when he sat in his truck in the parking lot, giving himself 5 minutes to just exist before walking into the apartment and becoming dad again. Moments when he looked at Ava and saw Sarah's smile, felt the loss like a fresh wound all over again. But there were other moments too. Ava's laugh when he made funny voices reading bedtime stories. The pride in her eyes when she showed him a drawing from school. The way she fit perfectly in his arms, small and trusting and completely sure that Daddy could fix anything. Those moments made everything else worthwhile. Lucas turned away from the window, checking one more time that all the doors were locked, that Ava's nightlight was on, that her favorite stuffed rabbit was tucked beside her pillow. These small acts of protection were all he could offer against a world that had already taken so much. Tomorrow would be another long day. But tonight, in this moment, everyone Lucas loved was safe and sleeping peacefully. It would have to be enough. 3 floors above the maintenance break room, in an office that cost more to furnish than Lucas made in a year, Olivia Hart stared at financial reports without seeing them. She kept thinking about the maintenance man with kind eyes and grease-stained hands, about the way he'd asked if she was okay, not as an obligatory question, but like he genuinely cared about the answer. When was the last time someone had asked her that? Not Richard, whose concern extended only to how her decisions affected his portfolio. Not the board members who saw her as either an asset or an obstacle. Not the journalists who wanted her thoughts on market trends, but never asked how she was sleeping. Her ex-husband, maybe, in the early years before their marriage became a business arrangement that eventually dissolved into separate lives under the same roof. But that was years ago, back when Olivia still believed success and happiness could coexist. She'd built an empire. Hartfield Tower stood as testament to her vision, her strategy, her refusal to compromise on excellence. The company employed over 2,000 people, generated billions in revenue, shaped markets and industries. And Olivia came home every night to an empty penthouse where she ate takeout in front of her laptop, fell asleep reading acquisition proposals, and woke up to do it all over again. I guess I just think everyone deserves to be treated like they matter. Lucas had said it so simply, like it was obvious, like caring about people was just the default way to move through the world. Olivia wondered what that would be like. To live with that kind of straightforward kindness, to not constantly calculate angles and motivations, to trust that people meant what they said. She thought about the way Lucas had looked at her, the absence of calculation in his gaze. He didn't want anything from her, didn't see her position or her power. He'd just seen a person who might need help. When was the last time anyone had seen her that way? Olivia's phone buzzed with an email from Richard, following up on their conversation about the Meridian acquisition. She deleted it without reading, suddenly exhausted by the endless cycle of meetings and decisions and corporate warfare. The city spread out before her windows, millions of lights representing millions of lives. People like Lucas, she supposed, working hard to take care of the people they loved. Building smaller empires of family and connection that were somehow more real than anything in this office. Olivia stood, pressing her palm against the cool glass. Somewhere down there, in an apartment she would never see, Lucas was probably putting his daughter to bed, reading stories, being the kind of father Olivia had never known, the kind of person she'd never let herself become. Success had required sacrifices. Olivia had made them willingly, told herself they were worth it. And they were worth it, weren't they? She'd proven herself in a world designed to exclude women like her. She'd built something lasting, but lasting for whom? When she was gone, the company would continue. Someone else would sit in this office, make these decisions. Her legacy would be measured in stock prices and market share, numbers that meant nothing to the empty rooms waiting for her at home. Everyone deserves to be treated like they matter. Olivia closed her eyes, feeling something crack inside the careful armor she'd built around herself. For just a moment, she let herself imagine a different life. Smaller, maybe, quieter, but filled with the kind of simple kindness that Lucas seemed to carry so effortlessly. Then she opened her eyes, gathered her things, and prepared to go home to another empty night. Because imagining different lives was a luxury Olivia Hart couldn't afford. Not anymore. Well, the following week passed in the usual rhythm. Lucas moved through the building fixing broken things, while Olivia moved through board meetings fixing broken strategies. Their paths didn't cross, two people orbiting in completely different spheres despite occupying the same physical space. But something had shifted, subtle and undeniable. Lucas found himself noticing when Olivia's light stayed on late into the evening, wondering if she'd eaten, if anyone had asked her if she was okay. The thoughts embarrassed him. She was a successful CEO, perfectly capable of taking care of herself. She didn't need concern from the maintenance guy. Still, the thoughts persisted. Olivia found herself listening for the sound of Lucas's voice in the hallways, the quiet confidence in the way he explained problems to his crew. She caught herself arranging meetings in locations where she might pass through the areas he was working just to see if he was there. It was ridiculous. She was behaving like a teenager with a crush, not a 42-year-old woman running a major corporation. But ridiculous or not, the feelings persisted. On Friday afternoon, Olivia made a decision. She called down to maintenance, asking for someone to check the ventilation in her office. It was working fine, but no one needed to know that. Marcus sent Lucas. When he arrived, Olivia was sitting at her desk, pretending to be absorbed in paperwork. Lucas knocked on the open door and she looked up as if surprised to see him. "Ms. Hart, I'm here about the ventilation issue?" "Yes, thank you for coming up." Olivia gestured toward the vent near her desk. "It's been making a strange noise, kind of a rattling sound." Lucas moved to examine it, and Olivia watched him work. There was something peaceful about the way he approached problems. Methodical, patient, competent. No drama, no urgency. Just steady attention to fixing what was broken. "I'm not hearing anything unusual," Lucas said after a few minutes. "But I can do a full diagnostic if you want. Might take a while, though." "That's fine. I'll be working anyway." So Lucas worked, and Olivia pretended to work, and the office filled with a comfortable silence that neither of them seemed eager to break. After 20 minutes, Lucas climbed down from his ladder. "Everything looks good. The system's running smoothly. Maybe whatever was making noise resolved itself." "Oh, well, thank you for checking." Lucas should have left then. Instead, he hesitated, looking at Olivia with that same gentle concern that had unsettled her the first time. "Can I ask you something?" Olivia felt her heart rate quicken. "Of course." "Do you ever stop working?" The question surprised her into honesty. "Not really, no." "Why not?" "Because stopping means thinking. Thinking means remembering all the things I'm trying not to remember." The words hung in the air between them. Olivia couldn't believe she'd said them out loud, especially to someone she barely knew. But something about Lucas invited honesty, maybe the way he'd looked at her that night in the elevator, like she was a person instead of a position. Lucas nodded slowly, understanding in his eyes. "Yeah, I know that feeling." "Your wife," Olivia said softly. "I'm sorry." "How did you—" "I asked about you. After that night in the elevator, I was curious." Now it was Lucas's turn to look surprised. "You asked about me?" "I did." Olivia stood, moving from behind her desk. "I wanted to understand who would stop to help someone with such simple kindness. Turns out you do that for everyone, not just CEOs stuck in elevators." Lucas shifted uncomfortably. "I just try to treat people right. It's not special." "It's special to me." The admission came out quieter than Olivia intended. "I can't remember the last time someone asked how I was doing and actually wanted to know the answer." "How are you doing, Olivia?" The use of her first name felt intimate, crossing some invisible boundary. Olivia should have corrected him, maintained professional distance. Instead, she answered honestly. "I'm tired. Successful, but tired. And very, very lonely." Lucas's expression softened. "Yeah, I understand that too." They stood facing each other in the quiet office. Two people from completely different worlds discovering unexpected common ground. Outside the windows, Chicago sprawled in the afternoon light, millions of people living millions of separate lives. But in this moment, just for a second, Olivia and Lucas existed in a space outside all of that. "Would you—" Olivia started, then stopped, suddenly uncertain. This was crazy. She was the CEO. He was an employee. There were rules, boundaries, expectations. "Would you want to have coffee sometime?" Lucas looked stunned. "Coffee? Or not? I'm sorry, that was inappropriate. No, I'd like that." Lucas smiled, genuine and warm. "I'd really like that." Relief flooded through Olivia. Really? Really? Though I have to warn you, I'm not much for fancy coffee shops. I usually just grab whatever's cheapest at the corner store. I think I can handle cheap coffee. And I should probably tell you up front, any relationship I have, Ava comes first. Always. That's non-negotiable. Relationship? The word hung between them, loaded with possibility and complication. I wouldn't expect anything else, Olivia said. Your daughter is lucky to have you. I'm the lucky one. The moment stretched, both of them aware they were standing on the edge of something that would change everything. Then Olivia's phone rang, shattering the fragile connection. I should... Olivia gestured at the phone. Yeah, of course. Lucas gathered his tools. I'll let you get back to work. At the door, he paused. Olivia? Tomorrow's Saturday. There's a park near my apartment where Ava likes to play. If you wanted to join us for that coffee, I'd love to. Olivia felt herself smiling, really smiling, for the first time in months. Text me the address. After Lucas left, Olivia sat down at her desk, her hands trembling slightly. What had she just agreed to? Meeting Lucas and his daughter in a park like they were friends. Like there wasn't a massive power imbalance and a dozen potential HR violations hovering over this entire situation. But when Olivia thought about tomorrow, about sunshine and cheap coffee and watching a 7-year-old girl play, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. She felt hopeful. And maybe, just maybe, hope was worth the risk. Saturday morning arrived with the kind of bright clarity that made Chicago feel almost forgiving. Lucas woke early, staring at the ceiling while anxiety churned in his stomach. What had he been thinking, inviting Olivia Hart to spend time with him and Ava? The woman ran a billion-dollar company. She probably had a dozen better ways to spend her Saturday than watching a 7-year-old play on swings. His phone sat on the nightstand, silent. She hadn't texted. Maybe she'd changed her mind, realized how ridiculous this whole thing was. Then, at 7:30, the phone buzzed. Still okay for this morning? I don't want to intrude if you'd rather have time with just Ava. Lucas read the message 3 times, struck by the thoughtfulness in it. Olivia was giving him an out, making it easy to cancel without awkwardness. He typed back, We'd love to see you. Park opens at 9. Coffee shop across the street makes decent stuff. The response came immediately. I'll be there. Lucas set the phone down, his heart racing. This was happening. Actually happening. Daddy? Ava appeared in his doorway, her stuffed rabbit dragging behind her. Can we have waffles? We can have waffles. Lucas scooped her up, tickling her sides until she giggled. But you have to help me make them. I always help. You always eat the batter before I can cook it. That's helping taste test. They moved through the morning routine with Ava's usual chaotic energy. She insisted on wearing her favorite dress, purple with yellow flowers, a combination that hurt Lucas's eyes but made her feel like a princess. She wanted her hair in pigtails, then changed her mind and wanted it down, then changed her mind again. Bug, we need to decide. We're meeting someone at the park. Ava's eyes lit up. Who? Lucas hesitated. How did you explain this to a 7-year-old? A friend of mine. Her name is Olivia. Is she nice? I think so, yeah. Is she your girlfriend? No! The word came out too quickly. No, she's someone I work with. We're getting to know each other. Ava studied him with the unnerving perception children sometimes had. You look nervous. I'm not nervous. You're doing the thing with your hands, the rubbing thing. You only do that when you're nervous. Lucas looked down at his hands, realized she was right. Okay, maybe I'm a little nervous. I want you to like her. Why? Because... Lucas knelt down to Ava's level. Because it's been just us for a long time. And that's been good, right? We're a good team. The best team. Right. But sometimes it's nice to have friends too, and I think Olivia might be a good friend to have. Ava considered this seriously. Does she like waffles? I don't know. We'll have to ask her. If she doesn't like waffles, Daddy, I don't think we can be friends with her. Lucas laughed, pulling his daughter into a hug. Fair enough. That's a good standard to have. They arrived at Lincoln Park just before 9. The morning air carried the smell of fresh-cut grass and the distant sound of the lake. Families were already claiming picnic tables. Joggers followed the winding paths, and the playground was beginning to fill with children. Lucas scanned the area, looking for Olivia. Part of him still expected her not to show up. Then he saw her. She was standing near the coffee shop, dressed so differently from how he'd seen her at the office that he almost didn't recognize her. Jeans, a simple blue sweater, her hair down, moving slightly in the breeze. No makeup that Lucas could see, or at least nothing like the polished look she wore to work. She looked younger, more uncertain, more real. Olivia spotted them and waved, a small gesture that seemed almost shy. "That's her," Lucas said quietly to Ava. "She's pretty." "Yeah, she is." They walked over and Lucas felt acutely aware of every step, every movement. Olivia smiled as they approached, but he could see nervousness in her eyes too. "Hi," Olivia said. Then, looking down at Ava, "You must be Ava. Your dad has told me a lot about you." Ava pressed against Lucas's leg, suddenly shy. "Hi. I like your dress. Purple's my favorite color." "Really?" Ava perked up slightly. "Mine too. Daddy says it doesn't match the yellow flowers, but I think it does." "I think it matches perfectly," Olivia said seriously. "Sometimes the best things don't match in the usual way." Lucas watched the exchange, something warm spreading through his chest. Olivia was trying, really trying, not talking down to Ava, not being fake enthusiastic the way some adults were with kids, just being genuine. "Should we get that coffee?" Lucas suggested. The shop was busy with the weekend morning crowd, but they found a small table by the window. Lucas ordered his usual black coffee. Olivia got something with a complicated name he didn't catch, and Ava requested hot chocolate with extra marshmallows. "So," Olivia said once they were settled, "do you come here often?" "Every Saturday when the weather's nice," Lucas said. "It's kind of our tradition. Park in the morning, library in the afternoon." "The library has story time," Ava added, chocolate already smudging her upper lip. "Miss Jennifer reads with funny voices." "That sounds wonderful." Olivia's smile seemed genuine. "I used to love the library when I was your age." "You did?" Ava tilted her head. "What was your favorite book?" "Where the Wild Things Are. I must have read it 100 times. I like that one too, but my favorite is Corduroy. It's about a bear who lives in a department store." "I know that one. It's a good choice." Lucas sipped his coffee, watching them talk. Ava was warming up, her initial shyness fading. She started telling Olivia about school, about her best friend Maya, about the dance lessons she was going to start in the fall. Olivia listened with what seemed like genuine interest, asking questions, laughing at Ava's jokes. "Daddy almost never laughs at my jokes," Ava said conspiratorially. "He says they're not funny." "That's not true," Lucas protested. "I laugh at your jokes all the time." "Only the good ones." "Well, yeah, that's how jokes work." Olivia laughed, and the sound made something flutter in Lucas's chest. This felt natural, easy, like they'd been doing this for years instead of minutes. After coffee, they headed to the playground. Ava ran ahead, making a beeline for the swings. "She's wonderful," Olivia said quietly as they followed at a slower pace. "She is. Best thing that ever happened to me." "You're doing an amazing job with her, Lucas. I can see how loved she is." Lucas felt his throat tighten. Compliments about his parenting always hit harder than anything else. "I'm just trying not to screw it up too badly." "I think you're doing better than that." They settled on a bench near the swings, watching Ava pump her legs, going higher and higher. Other parents dotted the playground, some pushing smaller children, others scrolling on phones while keeping half an eye on their kids. "Can I ask you something?" Olivia said after a moment. "Sure." "Why did you invite me here?" "Really?" Lucas considered the question, choosing his words carefully. "Because the other night in your office, you said you were lonely. And I know what that feels like. After Sarah died, I had Ava, but I was still lonely in a way that's hard to explain. Like I was going through all the motions but not really connecting with anything." "Yes," Olivia said softly. "That's exactly it. And I thought, I don't know. Maybe we could be less lonely together. As friends." "Friends." Olivia smiled, but something flickered in her eyes. "Is that what we're doing?" "I don't know what we're doing," Lucas admitted. "I haven't done this in a long time. Haven't really wanted to." "What changed?" Lucas watched Ava on the swings, her hair flying behind her, her laugh carrying across the playground. I think I realized that keeping myself closed off to protect her was actually doing the opposite. She needs to see that it's okay to open up to people again, that being hurt doesn't mean you stop trying. That's brave. Terrifying is more like it. Olivia laughed. Yeah, that too. Ava came running over, breathless and bright-eyed. Daddy, can Olivia push me on the swings? You always push too high. I do not push too high. You do. Last time I almost went over the top. That's physically impossible, Bug. Please? Ava turned to Olivia with wide, hopeful eyes. Will you push me? Olivia looked surprised, then pleased. I'd love to. Lucas watched them walk to the swings together, Ava chattering away while Olivia listened attentively. Then Olivia began pushing, gentle at first, then higher as Ava squealed with delight. Other parents glanced over, probably wondering who this woman was. Not dressed like a nanny, too young to be a grandmother, too comfortable to be a stranger. Let them wonder, Lucas thought. Let them make whatever assumptions they wanted. His phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Hey man, sorry to bother you on your day off. Can you cover a shift tomorrow morning? Jerry's kid is sick. Lucas sighed, typing back. Yeah, I can do it. What time? 6 a.m. Should be done by noon. They're when his Sunday plans. He'd promised Ava they'd go to the zoo, but Mrs. Chen could probably take her. Or maybe they could go in the afternoon instead. The constant juggling, the endless negotiation between work and parenting, and the basic need to sometimes just breathe. Everything okay? Olivia had returned, Ava running off to the slide. Yeah, just work stuff. Have to go in tomorrow morning. On Sunday? Someone called out, I'm covering. Olivia frowned. Do they do that often? Call you on your days off? When they need to, it's fine. It's not fine, Lucas. You have a life. You have a daughter. And I have bills to pay. The words came out sharper than Lucas intended. Not all of us have the luxury of saying no when work calls. Olivia went quiet, and Lucas immediately regretted his tone. I'm sorry, that was... No, you're right. Olivia sat down beside him. I forget sometimes how different our worlds are. They don't have to be that different, don't they? Olivia's voice was soft, almost sad. You work in maintenance because you have to. I run a company because I chose to. You raise your daughter alone because the person you loved died. I'm alone because I prioritized everything else. Our circumstances aren't the same at all. Maybe not, Lucas agreed. But loneliness feels pretty similar no matter how you got there. Ava ran back over, her face flushed with excitement. Daddy, there's a dog. Can I pet it? Lucas looked where she was pointing. A golden retriever sat near its owner, tail wagging. Go ask the owner first. Ava ran off and Lucas called after her. Use your manners. I will. They watched her approach the dog's owner, a young woman who smiled and nodded. Ava knelt down, carefully petting the dog while it licked her face, making her giggle. She's going to want a dog now, Lucas said. She asks at least once a week. Why don't you get one? Our apartment doesn't allow pets, plus I'm barely keeping up as it is. Adding a dog to the mix would probably break me. Olivia was quiet for a moment. What if you didn't have to keep up alone? Lucas turned to look at her. What do you mean? I mean, Olivia seemed to be choosing her words carefully. What if you had help? Real help, not just Mrs. Chen watching Ava when you work late. Olivia, we just met. Or we've known each other for a while, but we just started, whatever this is. You can't... I'm not suggesting anything inappropriate, Olivia said quickly. I just mean, I have resources. If you needed someone to help with Ava sometimes, or if you wanted to cut back your hours, I could... No. Lucas stood up, suddenly uncomfortable. I appreciate it, but no. I don't need charity. It's not charity. It feels like charity. Lucas ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. Look, I know you're trying to help, but I've been doing this on my own for 3 years. I don't need someone to swoop in and fix everything. That's not what I'm trying to do. Isn't it? Lucas softened his tone, seeing the hurt in Olivia's eyes. You're used to solving problems, making things better. I get that. But I'm not a problem that needs solving. I'm just a guy trying to do right by his kid. Olivia stood up too, facing him. You're right. I'm sorry. I overstepped. But you didn't overstep. You just... You come from a world where money fixes things. And maybe it does fix a lot of things. But it can't fix what I'm dealing with. What are you dealing with? Lucas watched Ava, still playing with the dog, her whole face lit up with joy. Grief. Fear. The constant worry that I'm not enough for her, that she's going to grow up and realize her dad tried his best, but it still wasn't good enough. Lucas, Olivia's voice was gentle. She adores you. Anyone can see that. For now. But what about when she's older? When she realizes other kids have more? When she wants things I can't give her? Then she'll understand that you gave her what matters most. Your time, your love, your presence. Maybe. Lucas sat back down, suddenly exhausted. Or maybe she'll resent me for all the things we couldn't afford to do. Olivia sat beside him, and they were quiet for a moment. Around them, the park continued its Saturday rhythm. Children played. Parents watched. Life moved forward in its complicated, messy way. My father had money, Olivia said finally. Lots of it. He gave me everything I wanted materially, sent me to the best schools, bought me a car for my 16th birthday, paid for college without blinking. Sounds nice. It was lonely. Olivia's voice carried old pain. He was never there. Always working, always traveling. I used to pretend I was sick just so he'd come home from business trips. It never worked. Lucas looked at her, seeing past the successful CEO to the girl who'd wanted her father's attention. When he died, Olivia continued, I inherited his company, his money, his legacy. And you know what? None of it filled the hole he left by never just being present, by never choosing me over his work. I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm telling you because Ava isn't going to resent you for what you can't buy her. She's going to love you for showing up, for being there, for choosing her every single day. You really think so? I know so, Olivia smiled, because I would have traded every expensive gift for a father who actually saw me. They sat in silence, something shifting between them. Not romance exactly, though Lucas felt the pull of that too. Something deeper. Understanding, recognition. Two people who'd been shaped by loss in different ways, finding unexpected common ground. Daddy! Ava came running back over. The dog's name is Cooper! And his owner said, I was very polite. That's great, Bug. Lucas pulled her into a hug. I'm proud of you. Can we get ice cream now? Olivia should come too. Lucas looked at Olivia, raising an eyebrow. You up for ice cream? I haven't had ice cream in years. Years? Ava looked horrified. That's so sad. We have to fix that right now. Olivia laughed. I guess I have no choice then. They walked to the ice cream shop a few blocks away, Ava between them, holding both their hands. Lucas felt the warmth of her small palm in his, noticed the way Olivia's grip was gentle but sure. Passers-by probably thought they were a family, mom, dad, daughter, enjoying a Saturday together. The assumption should have made Lucas uncomfortable. Instead, it felt strangely right. At the shop, Ava debated flavors for 10 minutes before settling on strawberry with gummy bears mixed in. Lucas got vanilla. Olivia, after studying the menu like it was a contract negotiation, chose chocolate. Boring, Ava pronounced. Ava, that's rude, Lucas said. It's okay. Olivia grinned. She's not wrong. I'm pretty boring when it comes to ice cream. You should try my flavor, Ava said seriously. It's the best. Maybe next time. Next time. The words hung in the air, a promise of continuity. They found a bench outside, eating their ice cream while watching the city move past. Lucas found himself relaxing in a way he rarely did, the constant tension in his shoulders easing. This is nice, Olivia said softly. Yeah? Yeah, I can't remember the last time I did something like this. Just existed. No agenda, no meetings, no deals to close. Welcome to my exciting life, Lucas said dryly. It is exciting. Olivia watched Ava chase a pigeon, giggling as it flew away. It's real. That's more exciting than most of what I do. I doubt that. You run a major company. That's got to be interesting. It's challenging, demanding, sometimes satisfying. But interesting? Olivia shook her head. Not like this. Not like watching a 7-year-old discover that pigeons won't play with her. Lucas laughed. She tries every week, never learns. That's called optimism. That's called denial. Maybe they're the same thing. Lucas considered that. After Sarah died, people had told him to stay optimistic, to believe things would get better. But optimism felt like lying to himself. Denial seemed more honest, pretending he was fine until eventually, maybe, he actually would be. You're thinking too hard, Olivia said. I can see it on your face. Sorry, occupational hazard. Of being a maintenance guy? Of being a single parent, you're always thinking 3 steps ahead, planning for problems before they happen. Sounds exhausting. It is. Olivia shifted closer, and Lucas became acutely aware of the warmth of her beside him. What if you didn't have to think ahead for a minute? What if you just sat here and ate ice cream? I'm eating ice cream. You're eating ice cream while mentally running through your to-do list. I can practically hear you thinking about laundry and grocery shopping and whatever's broken in your apartment. Lucas smiled because she was right. The bathroom sink's leaking. I need to fix it before it gets worse. See? Stop that. Stop thinking about home repairs. Stop thinking about anything except this moment. Right here. Right now. Lucas tried. He closed his eyes, feeling the sun on his face, heard Ava's laughter, tasted vanilla on his tongue, felt the slight pressure of Olivia's shoulder against his. For just a moment, he let himself exist without planning, without worrying, without bracing for the next crisis. It felt dangerous and wonderful at the same time. Better? Olivia asked. Better. When Lucas opened his eyes, Ava was standing in front of them, ice cream smeared on her face, looking pleased with herself. I made a new friend. She pointed to another little girl about her age. Her name is Emma, and she has a turtle named Steve. That's great, Bug. Did you ask Emma's parents if it's okay to play? Yep. They said yes. Can I go? Lucas glanced at the other parents, a couple sitting on a nearby bench, watching their daughter with the kind of tired affection Lucas recognized. They waved, and he waved back. Stay where I can see you, Lucas said. I will. Ava ran off, joining Emma in what appeared to be an elaborate game involving sticks and dramatic sound effects. She makes friends easily, Olivia observed. Too easily sometimes. She doesn't have much fear of strangers. Is that a bad thing? Lucas thought about it. I don't know. Part of me loves that she's so open, but part of me worries that the world's going to teach her to be afraid, and I won't be able to protect her from that. You can't protect her from everything. I know. Doesn't stop me from wanting to. Olivia's hand found his, fingers intertwining with a naturalness that surprised them both. You're a good father, Lucas. You keep saying that. Because it's true. And because I don't think you believe it. Lucas looked down at their joined hands. Do you want kids? The question came out before he could stop it, too personal for how new this thing between them was. But Olivia didn't pull away. I did once, she said quietly. When I was married. We tried for a while, but it never happened. Eventually we stopped trying, stopped a lot of things. I'm sorry. Don't be. I think we would have been terrible parents, too focused on work, too disconnected from each other. It's not too late, you know. If you wanted to try again. Olivia was quiet for a long moment. I'm 42, Lucas, and single, and I work 80 hours a week, not exactly ideal parenting circumstances. You're here now, on a Saturday morning, eating ice cream with a 7-year-old who's currently hitting a tree with a stick. They both looked at Ava, who was indeed whacking a tree, while Emma cheered her on. Should we stop her? Olivia asked. Nah, as long as she's not hurting anyone, I pick my battles. Olivia laughed, and Lucas felt something shift deeper in his chest. This woman, brilliant, powerful, impossible by all reasonable standards, was sitting on a park bench holding his hand while his daughter destroyed nature, and it felt right. I should probably go soon, Olivia said eventually. I have a conference call at 3. On Saturday? International markets don't care about weekends. Lucas wanted to argue, to tell her she deserved time off, deserved to exist outside of work, but he understood the trap of responsibility, the way obligations could consume you until nothing else remained. Can I see you again? The question felt vulnerable in a way Lucas hadn't experienced in years. Olivia squeezed his hand. I'd like that. Maybe dinner? Without Ava this time. Just us. A date? Yeah, a date. Olivia's smile was worth every bit of nervousness Lucas felt. I'd love to. They exchanged numbers, making plans for the following Friday. Then Olivia stood, straightening her sweater, transforming back into someone who belonged in boardrooms and corner offices. Thank you, she said, for today, for including me. Thank you for coming, for being willing to just be normal with us. This is the most normal I've felt in years. After Olivia left, Lucas called Ava over. She came reluctantly, saying goodbye to Emma with promises to meet again next Saturday. Did you have fun with Olivia? Lucas asked as they walked toward his truck. Yeah, she's nice, and she didn't treat me like a baby. No, she didn't. Do you like her, Daddy? Lucas buckled Ava into her car seat, considering his answer. Yeah, Bug, I do. Like her? Maybe. Is that okay? Ava thought about it seriously. Is she going to be your girlfriend? I don't know yet. We're still getting to know each other. But you want her to be? Lucas met his daughter's eyes, seeing Sarah's features reflected there. The ghost of the woman he'd loved overlaid on the girl she'd left behind. For 3 years, he'd been faithful to a memory. For 3 years, he'd told himself that was enough. But maybe it wasn't enough. Maybe Ava needed to see that love didn't end just because loss happened. Maybe Lucas needed to believe that too. Yeah, he said softly. I think I do. Ava smiled, satisfied with the answer. Okay, but she has to like waffles. That's very important. I'll make sure to ask her. As Lucas drove home, his daughter chattering in the back seat about Emma and the turtle named Steve and whether they could get their own turtle, he found himself thinking about the future in a way he hadn't allowed himself to before. Not just surviving, not just getting through each day, actually living again. The thought terrified him. But underneath the fear, something else stirred, something that felt dangerously close to hope. The week crawled by with an agonizing slowness that made Lucas feel like a teenager again. Every time his phone buzzed, his heart jumped, hoping it was Olivia. They'd exchanged a few texts, brief, careful messages that felt like two people trying not to seem too eager while being exactly that eager. On Tuesday, she sent him a photo of her lunch, a sad-looking salad in a plastic container. This is what passes for food in my world, the message read. Lucas photographed the bologna sandwich he was eating in the maintenance break room, sitting next to a dripping pipe he'd just fixed. At least yours looks intentional, he wrote back. Her response came with a laughing emoji. Mine tastes like cardboard. Yours probably tastes better. It really doesn't. These small exchanges became the bright spots in Lucas's days. He found himself checking his phone more often, smiling at nothing, distracted in ways that Marcus noticed. You got a new girlfriend or something? Marcus asked Thursday afternoon while they were replacing air filters on the 19th floor. What? No, why would you say that? Because you've been grinning at your phone all week like an idiot. That's girlfriend behavior. Lucas felt heat creep up his neck. There's someone I'm getting to know. Someone? Marcus raised an eyebrow. Someone got a name? It's new. I don't want to jinx it. Fair enough. But Marcus handed Lucas another filter. Just be careful, man. Ava's at that age where she notices things. Last thing you want is to introduce her to someone who's not going to stick around. I know, but the truth was more complicated. Ava had already met Olivia, already liked her. If this thing fell apart, it wouldn't just be Lucas who got hurt. The thought kept him up Thursday night, staring at his ceiling while doubt circled like a predator. What was he doing? Olivia Hart lived in a penthouse somewhere, probably had a closet bigger than his entire apartment. She made decisions that affected thousands of people, and Lucas fixed toilets and changed light bulbs. This couldn't work. The difference between their worlds was too vast. But then he remembered the way she'd looked at the park, relaxed and genuine, laughing at Ava's jokes. The way her hand had felt in his, warm and real. The loneliness in her voice when she'd admitted how empty her success felt. Maybe the difference between their worlds didn't matter as much as the things they had in common. Or maybe Lucas was an idiot setting himself up for heartbreak. Friday arrived with gray skies and the threat of rain. Lucas had arranged to leave work early, something he almost never did. Marcus had given him a knowing look but hadn't asked questions. Now, standing in front of his bathroom mirror, Lucas felt completely out of his depth. What did you wear to dinner with a CEO? He owned exactly 3 shirts that weren't work clothes. 1 button-down he wore to parent-teacher conferences, and 2 t-shirts that were slightly less faded than the rest. He chose the button-down, a blue Oxford that Sarah had bought him years ago. It still fit, mostly, though it was a little tight across the shoulders from the physical labor of his job. "You look nice, Daddy," Ava said from the doorway. She was already in her pajamas, ready for Mrs. Chen to come over. "Thanks, Bug. Are you nervous?" "Why does everyone keep asking me that?" "Because you're acting nervous. You keep fixing your hair." Lucas forced his hands down from where they'd been smoothing his hair for the 10th time. "I just want to make a good impression." "Olivia already likes you. I could tell." "How could you tell?" "The way she looked at you. Like you were the only person in the whole park." Ava climbed onto the bathroom counter, swinging her legs. "That's how Mommy used to look at you in the pictures." Lucas felt his throat tighten. Sarah smiled at him from a dozen framed photographs throughout the apartment, frozen in moments of happiness that felt like another lifetime. "Yeah?" His voice came out rough. "Yeah, it's nice. I think Mommy would want you to be happy." 7 years old, and somehow Ava understood things that Lucas was still struggling with. He pulled her into a hug, holding tight. "When did you get so smart?" "I've always been smart. You just finally noticed." The doorbell rang, Mrs. Chen arriving right on time. Lucas gave Ava final instructions, kissed her forehead, and headed out before his nerves could convince him to cancel. He'd suggested meeting at a small Italian restaurant on the south side. Nothing fancy, but with good food and a comfortable atmosphere. The kind of place where Lucas wouldn't feel completely out of place. Olivia was already there when he arrived, sitting at a corner table, and Lucas stopped in the doorway, struck by the sight of her. She wore a simple black dress, her hair pulled back loosely, minimal jewelry. She looked beautiful, but more than that, she looked nervous in a way that made Lucas feel less alone in his anxiety. She spotted him and smiled, and Lucas felt some of his tension ease. "Hi," he said, sliding into the seat across from her. "Hi yourself. You look nice." "This old thing?" Lucas gestured at his shirt, trying for humor. "I break this out for all my important maintenance emergencies." Olivia laughed, the sound warm and genuine. "Well, I'm honored to be classified as an important emergency." "You're definitely something." The waiter appeared, mercifully breaking the moment before Lucas could say something even more awkward. They ordered wine, a red that Olivia selected after studying the menu, though she immediately assured Lucas she wasn't trying to show off, she just happened to know about wine. "My ex-husband was really into it," she explained once the waiter left. "I picked up some knowledge by osmosis." "You don't have to explain. I know exactly one thing about wine, which is that it comes from grapes." "That's a solid foundation to build on." They fell into easier conversation after that, the initial awkwardness fading. Olivia asked about Ava's week, and Lucas found himself telling stories about second-grade drama involving who got to be line leader and the great crayon-sharing incident of Tuesday afternoon. "She sounds like she has a strong sense of justice," Olivia observed. "That's a nice way of saying she's stubborn." "Stubborn isn't a bad quality. Some of the most successful people I know are incredibly stubborn." "Are you including yourself in that category?" Olivia smiled. "Maybe. Is it working?" "Depends. How often does your stubbornness get you in trouble?" "With the board? Constantly." "With pretty much everyone else?" "Also constantly." Their food arrived, pasta for both of them, simple and perfect. Lucas watched Olivia take her first bite, saw the surprise and pleasure cross her face. "This is really good," she said. "How did you find this place?" "Used to do maintenance work for the owner's brother. He recommended it." "Your network of maintenance connections is clearly superior to my network of business associates. Different worlds, same principles. People help people they like." Olivia set down her fork, studying him. "Do people like you, Lucas?" "I'd like to think so. I try to be decent to folks." "You're more than decent. You're kind in a way that seems effortless. Like it doesn't even occur to you to be any other way." "My mom raised me right, I guess." "Tell me about her." Lucas took a sip of wine, gathering his thoughts. "She died when I was 19, cancer. She was a teacher, 3rd grade. Used to say that if you could survive 25 8-year-olds every day, you could survive anything." "I'm sorry you lost her so young." "Me too. She would have loved Ava. Would have loved being a grandmother. Lucas smiled, remembering. She had this way of making everyone feel seen, like whatever you were dealing with mattered to her. You're like that too. I try to be. They ate in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Olivia spoke again, her voice quieter. Can I ask you something personal? Sure. What was she like, Sarah? The question caught Lucas off guard. Most people avoided mentioning Sarah, like saying her name might shatter him. But Olivia's tone held genuine curiosity, not pity. She was funny, Lucas said slowly. Had this laugh that was way too loud for someone her size. She was terrible at cooking but kept trying anyway. Once set off the smoke alarm making toast. Olivia smiled. Sounds memorable. She was. We met in high school, started dating senior year. Everyone said we were too young to know what we wanted, but we just knew, you know? Got married at 22, had Ava at 24. It all happened fast, but it felt right. How did she die? If you don't mind me asking. Lucas set down his fork, the familiar weight settling in his chest. Car accident. She was driving home from her sister's place. Some drunk driver ran a red light. He paused. Ava was 4, old enough to remember her, but young enough that the memories are starting to fade. That's the part that kills me, watching my daughter forget her own mother. Olivia reached across the table, covering his hand with hers. I'm so sorry, Lucas. It's been 3 years. You'd think it would get easier. Does it? Some days. Other days it hits me all over again that she's just gone, that Ava's going to grow up without her mother, that I'm trying to be both parents and probably failing at both. You're not failing. Anyone can see that. Can they? Because I can't tell most days. I'm just winging it, hoping I'm not screwing her up too badly. Olivia's thumb traced small circles on the back of his hand. We're all winging it, Lucas. Some of us just have better marketing. That startled a laugh out of him. Is that what your corner office is? Good marketing? Partly. The rest is stubbornness, like we discussed, and a complete inability to admit when I'm in over my head. Are you? In over your head? Olivia was quiet for a long moment. With the company? Sometimes. With life? Constantly. With this? She gestured between them. Absolutely terrified. The honesty in her words made Lucas's chest tight. Yeah, me too. Good. Olivia squeezed his hand. At least we're terrified together. The waiter returned to clear their plates and offer dessert menus, breaking the intensity of the moment. They declined dessert but ordered coffee, neither ready for the evening to end. Tell me about your work, Lucas said. What's it actually like, running a company? Honestly, exhausting, exhilarating, frustrating, rewarding, sometimes all in the same hour. That's vague. Okay, specific example. This week, we're negotiating a major acquisition. It's a good company, solid fundamentals, but the board wants me to move faster than I'm comfortable with. They see the optics. Big acquisition, great press, stock price bump. I see the risk. We'd be over-leveraging, putting too many resources into one play. So what do? Fight them, present the data, make my case, hope they listen. And if they don't? Olivia smiled, but there was steel in it. Then I do it anyway. That's the joy of being CEO. Sometimes you can just override everyone. That sounds lonely. It is. Every major decision ultimately comes down to me. If it works, great. If it fails, it's my head on the chopping block. She sipped her coffee. No one tells you that success means being isolated, that the higher you climb, the fewer people you can trust. You can trust me. The words came out before Lucas could think about them, bold and maybe presumptuous. But Olivia's expression softened. I think I can, she said quietly. That's what scares me. I haven't trusted anyone in a very long time. Why not? Because everyone wants something. Business partners want deals. Board members want influence. Even friends, or people I thought were friends, they're always angling for something. I don't want anything from you, Olivia. Don't you? She tilted her head, studying him. Are you sure? Because I'm sitting here wondering if maybe you want what I can't give you. What's that? Normal, simple. The life you had with Sarah. Lucas considered that, turning it over in his mind. You're right that I can't have that life again. Sarah's gone. That chapter's closed, but I'm not looking for a replacement. What are you looking for? I don't know yet. Maybe I'm just looking for someone who sees me. Not the widower, not the single dad struggling to make ends meet, just me. And you think I see you? Yeah, I think you do. Olivia smiled, and it reached her eyes in a way that made Lucas's heart skip. I see you, Lucas Bennett, and I like what I see. Even though I'm nothing like the businessmen you usually deal with, especially because of that. You're real. You say what you mean. You don't have an agenda hidden behind every word. That's just called being honest. In my world, honesty is a rare commodity. They finished their coffee and Lucas insisted on paying, despite Olivia's protests. Outside, the threatened rain had held off, leaving the evening cool and clear. They stood on the sidewalk, neither quite ready to say goodbye. I had a really good time, Olivia said. Me too. Can I ask you something? Sure. Olivia seemed to gather her courage. What happens now? With us? Lucas thought about all the reasons this couldn't work. Their different worlds, the complications, the risk to Ava if things fell apart. But then he looked at Olivia, brilliant, lonely, trying so hard to connect despite her fear, and the reasons didn't seem to matter as much. I think we keep doing this, he said, getting to know each other, seeing where it goes. Just like that? You're not worried about the complications? Terrified of them, but I'm more scared of missing out on something good because I was too afraid to try. Olivia stepped closer, and Lucas could smell her perfume, could see the flecks of gold in her gray-green eyes. When did you become so brave? I'm not brave, I'm just tired of being alone. Me too. Olivia reached up, her hand gentle on his cheek. Can I kiss you? Lucas's answer was to close the distance between them, his lips finding hers in a kiss that was tentative at first, then deeper. Olivia's arms went around his neck, and Lucas pulled her closer, and for a moment the world narrowed to just this, the warmth of her mouth, the softness of her against him, the rightness of it all. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Olivia rested her forehead against his. Wow, she whispered. Yeah. I should go. I have an early meeting tomorrow. Of course you do. Olivia laughed, stepping back reluctantly. But I want to see you again, soon. Tomorrow? The eagerness in Lucas's voice embarrassed him, but Olivia smiled. I have meetings all day. But Sunday? Maybe we could do something with Ava? She'd like that. Fair warning, though, she's going to ask you about waffles. Waffles? It's her litmus test for people. If you don't like waffles, you can't be trusted. I love waffles. Always have. Then I think you'll pass. They said goodbye properly, another kiss that left Lucas dizzy, and then Olivia was getting into a car that appeared as if summoned, a driver Lucas hadn't even noticed waiting. She waved through the window as the car pulled away, and Lucas stood on the sidewalk watching until the taillights disappeared. His phone buzzed. A text from Olivia. Thank you for tonight. I haven't felt this happy in years. Lucas typed back. Me either. Sleep well. The drive home felt surreal, like Lucas was moving through a dream. He kept touching his lips, remembering the kiss, hardly believing it had actually happened. Mrs. Chen was dozing on the couch when he got home, some game show playing quietly on TV. She woke as Lucas came in, smiling knowingly. Good date? Really good. I'm happy for you, Lucas. You deserve this. After Mrs. Chen left, Lucas checked on Ava. She was sprawled across her bed, one leg hanging off the side, her stuffed rabbit clutched to her chest. Lucas carefully repositioned her, pulling the blanket up, pressing a kiss to her forehead. Love you, Bug, he whispered. In his own room, Lucas lay in bed unable to sleep, his mind replaying the evening, the conversation, the laughter, the kiss, the way Olivia had looked at him like he mattered. His phone buzzed again. Another message from Olivia. I can't sleep. Keep thinking about tonight. Me too, Lucas wrote back. Is it crazy that I already miss you? If it is, we're both crazy. A pause, then, I'm okay with that. They texted back and forth for another hour, the conversation meandering through everything and nothing. Olivia told him about her first job out of college, working 80-hour weeks for a boss who barely acknowledged her existence. Lucas told her about the time he'd accidentally locked himself in a supply closet, and had to be rescued by Jerry. "You're making that up," Olivia wrote. "I swear it's true. Jerry still brings it up at least once a month. I would pay good money to see you locked in a closet." "That's kind of mean, but also kind of funny. You're terrible. You like me anyway." Lucas smiled at his phone, feeling like a teenager again. "Yeah, I really do." Finally, around midnight, Olivia sent, "I should sleep. Tomorrow's going to be brutal. Get some rest. I'll see you Sunday. Can't wait. Good night, Lucas." "Good night, Olivia." Lucas set his phone down, staring at the ceiling with a smile he couldn't suppress. This was happening, actually happening. He was falling for someone again, despite all his fears, despite the complications, despite the very real possibility of getting hurt. And for the first time in 3 years, that possibility felt worth the risk. The next day brought Lucas crashing back to reality. He'd promised to cover Jerry's shift, which meant being at the building by 6 a.m. for a plumbing emergency that turned into a 3-hour ordeal involving a burst pipe and an angry executive whose office was flooding. By the time Lucas got home that afternoon, exhausted and still damp from the pipe incident, he found Ava in full meltdown mode. "I don't want to wear that dress," she shrieked at Mrs. Chen, who looked frazzled and apologetic. "What's going on?" Lucas asked. "Maya's having a birthday party," Mrs. Chen explained. "Ava wants to wear her purple dress, but it's in the laundry." "I need the purple dress. It's Maya's favorite." Lucas knelt down to Ava's level. "Bug, the purple dress is dirty. You can wear your blue dress. Maya will love it." "No, she won't. Purple is her favorite color." "Ava, you don't understand." Tears streamed down her face now, the kind of overwhelming emotion that had nothing to do with dresses and everything to do with being 7 and having big feelings she didn't know how to process. Lucas pulled her into a hug, letting her cry against his shoulder. Mrs. Chen quietly excused herself, and Lucas rocked Ava gently, the way he'd done when she was a baby. "Talk to me, Bug. What's really wrong?" Ava's words came out muffled against his shirt. "I miss Mommy." Lucas's heart cracked. "I know. I miss her too. Maya's mom is helping her get ready for the party. She's doing her hair special and everything." Ava pulled back, her face blotchy and wet. "I wanted Mommy to help me get pretty." "Oh, sweetheart." Lucas brushed tears from her cheeks. "You are pretty. You're always pretty." "But I wanted—" She couldn't finish, dissolving into fresh sobs. Lucas held her, feeling completely inadequate. He could fix pipes and electrical panels and broken air conditioners, but he couldn't fix this. Couldn't bring back the mother his daughter desperately needed. "What if I tried to do your hair?" he offered. "I'm not as good as Mommy would have been, but I can try." Ava sniffled. "You don't know how." "I can learn. We'll watch a video or something." "Really?" "Really, and then we'll wash the purple dress and use the dryer so it's ready in time." Ava's tears slowed. "Okay." The next hour was chaos. Lucas had never realized how complicated little girls' hair could be. They watched 3 YouTube tutorials, and Lucas's first attempt at a French braid looked more like a bird's nest than anything resembling a hairstyle. "Daddy, you're pulling too hard." "Sorry, I'm trying to follow the video." "The lady makes it look easy." "The lady's done this before. I'm winging it here, Bug." By the 4th attempt, Lucas managed something that almost resembled a braid. It wasn't perfect. Strands stuck out at odd angles, and the whole thing tilted slightly to the left. But Ava looked at herself in the mirror and smiled. "It's not like Mommy would have done it," she said quietly. "No, it's not." "But I like it anyway, because you tried." Lucas kissed the top of her head, blinking back unexpected tears. "I'll always try, Bug, even when I mess up." The purple dress came out of the dryer, wrinkled but clean, and Ava was happy. Lucas drove her to the party, watching her run inside with the other girls, her slightly crooked braid bouncing. Mrs. Chen's daughter picked Ava up later, giving Lucas a few hours to himself. He should have used the time to sleep or catch up on chores. Instead, he found himself pulling out old photo albums, looking at pictures of Sarah. She smiled at him from dozens of photos. Their wedding day, her in a simple white dress they'd bought on sale. The hospital after Ava was born, Sarah exhausted and radiant. Birthday parties. Holidays. Ordinary moments that had seemed unremarkable at the time, but now felt infinitely precious. I'm trying, Lucas said to her photograph. I know I'm not doing it the way you would have, but I'm trying. The photo didn't answer, obviously, but somehow Lucas felt a little lighter saying the words out loud. His phone buzzed. A text from Olivia. How's your Saturday? Lucas looked at the photos spread around him, at the evidence of a life that used to be. Then he looked at Olivia's message, at the possibility of a future he hadn't dared imagine. Complicated, he wrote back. But good. You? Missing you. Is that allowed after one date? I think so. I'm missing you too. What are you doing? Lucas hesitated, then decided on honesty. Looking at old photos. Of Sarah. Having a moment. A pause, longer this time. Then, do you want to talk about it? Not sure what to say. Just feeling the weight of everything, I guess. Can I call you? Yeah. His phone rang a moment later. Olivia's voice was soft when he answered. Hi. Hi, Lucas said. Tell me about her. About Sarah, if you want to. So Lucas did. He told Olivia about meeting Sarah in high school, about their first date at a terrible movie they'd both hated, about how Sarah had wanted to be a teacher but had been working retail when she died, saving money for school, about the way she'd sing off-key in the shower and leave notes in his lunch and make up ridiculous stories for Ava at bedtime. Olivia listened without interrupting, without offering platitudes or trying to fix anything. Just listening. She sounds wonderful, Olivia said when Lucas finished. She was, and I loved her. Still love her, I guess, in the way you love someone who's part of your history. But she's gone, and I'm still here. And I'm realizing that I can love what we had without letting it stop me from having something new. Is that what I am? Something new? Yeah, you are. And it's scary as hell. For me, too. Olivia's voice was gentle. I don't want to compete with her memory, Lucas. I can't be Sarah. I don't want you to be. I want you to be Olivia. Even with all my baggage and complications? Even then. They talked for another hour about everything and nothing. About Olivia's impossible work schedule and Lucas's disaster of attempting to braid Ava's hair. About fears and hopes and the strange way they'd found each other. I should let you go, Olivia finally said. It's late. Yeah. Lucas didn't want to hang up. Tomorrow, though. We're still on for tomorrow? Absolutely. Ava's already planning the menu. Apparently we're having waffles. I wouldn't have it any other way. After they hung up, Lucas gathered the photos, putting them carefully back in the album. He wasn't saying goodbye to Sarah. He would never say goodbye. But maybe he was saying hello to the possibility of moving forward, of living again instead of just surviving. That night, Lucas dreamed of Sarah for the first time in months. But instead of the sad dreams that usually visited him, her dying, him losing her over and over, this dream was different. They were in their old apartment, and Sarah was smiling. You're going to be okay, she said. Both of you. You're going to be better than okay. I'm scared, Lucas admitted. I know, but she's good for you. Don't let fear stop you. Do you really think so? Sarah laughed, and it was exactly the way Lucas remembered. Too loud, completely joyful. I can't believe you're asking my permission to date someone. That's very you. I just want to do right by everyone. Then do right by yourself too. Let yourself be happy, Lucas. That's what Ava needs to see. That's what I'd want for you. Lucas woke with tears on his face, but peace in his heart. The dream faded quickly, the way dreams do, but the feeling remained. Permission. Not that he needed Sarah's permission to move on, but somehow, imagined or not, it helped. Sunday morning dawned bright and clear. Lucas made coffee, started the waffle batter, and waited for Olivia to arrive. Ava was already bouncing with excitement, having changed her outfit 3 times. When the doorbell rang, Ava raced to answer it before Lucas could stop her. Olivia! She shrieked, flinging herself at Olivia's legs. Olivia laughed, clearly surprised but pleased by the enthusiastic greeting. She'd brought flowers, simple daisies that immediately became Ava's new favorite thing in the world. Can I put them in water? Please, please, please. Of course, Lucas said, finding a vase while Ava carefully arranged the flowers. Olivia looked around the small apartment and Lucas suddenly saw it through her eyes. The worn furniture, The scuffed floors, the chaos of toys and books, and the general mess of life with a 7-year-old. Sorry about the... He gestured vaguely. Don't apologize. It's perfect. It's real. Olivia smiled. It's home. And somehow, with her standing in his tiny living room, looking at him like he hung the moon, it really did feel perfect. Ava declared the waffles perfect, which meant Olivia had officially passed the most important test. They sat around Lucas's small kitchen table, syrup dripping onto plates, morning sunlight streaming through windows that badly needed cleaning. Olivia ate with genuine enjoyment, not the polite picking Lucas had half expected. These are seriously good, she said, reaching for another piece. What's your secret? Vanilla extract, Lucas admitted. And I let Ava crack the eggs. She insists it makes them taste better. It does, Ava said through a mouthful of waffle. Don't talk with your mouth full, Bug. You just did it yesterday. Do as I say, not as I do. Olivia laughed, and Lucas felt something settle in his chest. This was working. Against all odds, this strange combination of people was actually working. After breakfast, Ava dragged Olivia to her room to show her every single toy, stuffed animal, and drawing she'd made in the past year. Lucas cleaned up, listening to their voices drift from down the hall, Ava's excited chatter, and Olivia's patient responses. This is Mr. Whiskers. He's a rabbit, but he thinks he's a dog. And this is Princess. She's actually a dragon, but she likes to wear crowns. Daddy says that's okay because anyone can be anything they want. Your daddy's right about that. Do you have any stuffed animals? A pause. You know, I used to. I had a bear named Theodore. I took him everywhere. What happened to him? I grew up, I guess. Put him in storage somewhere. Olivia's voice carried a note of regret. I wish I'd kept him. You could get a new one. It's never too late for stuffed animals. Lucas smiled, loading dishes into the dishwasher. Through the doorway, he could see them sitting on Ava's floor, surrounded by the organized chaos of childhood. Olivia looked completely at ease, her expensive clothes somehow not seeming out of place among the toys and books. His phone buzzed, a text from Marcus. Need you to look at something Monday morning. HVAC system. On 12 acting weird again. Lucas typed back. What kind of weird? Temperature fluctuations. Probably the same issue from last month. I'll check it out first thing. When he looked up, Olivia was watching him from the doorway, a knowing expression on her face. Work? She asked. Always is. I get it. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing either. You don't have to check it. You're off the clock. So are you, technically. Lucas shrugged. Different rules for people like us. The words hung there, a reminder of the gulf between them. But Olivia crossed the kitchen, taking his hand. Maybe we should make our own rules, she said quietly. Before Lucas could respond, Ava appeared. Can we go to the zoo, please? Olivia's never seen the penguins. I've seen penguins, Olivia protested. Not these penguins. These are special Chicago penguins. Are they different from regular penguins? Way different. They're magic. Lucas caught Olivia's eye, raising an eyebrow in question. She smiled and nodded. Magic penguins it is. The zoo was crowded with families taking advantage of the beautiful Sunday weather. Ava led them confidently through the paths, clearly knowing exactly where she wanted to go. She held both their hands swinging between them, completely oblivious to the fact that they probably looked like a family. Other people noticed, though. Lucas caught the glances, the small smiles from strangers who saw a happy couple with their daughter. He waited for it to feel wrong, like he was betraying Sarah's memory somehow. Instead, it felt natural. At the penguin exhibit, Ava pressed her face against the glass, narrating the penguins' lives with complete authority. That one's named Steve. He's in love with that one. See her? That's Patricia. But Patricia likes Raymond better, so Steve is sad. How do you know their names? Olivia asked, amused. I made them up. But they fit, don't they? They really do. They spent an hour watching the penguins, then moved through the rest of the zoo. Ava wanted to see everything, her energy seemingly endless. Lucas's phone kept buzzing with work messages, and he saw Olivia glancing at her own phone with increasing frequency. You need to check that? He asked quietly while Ava was distracted by the giraffes. There's a situation with the acquisition. The board's pushing back harder than expected. Olivia rubbed her temples. I should probably make some calls. It's Sunday. I know. Can it wait until tomorrow? Olivia looked torn. It could, but delaying might make things worse. Lucas thought about all the times he'd left Ava with Mrs. Chen to deal with work emergencies. The late nights, the interrupted weekends, the constant pull between what he needed to do and what he wanted to do. I get it, he said. If you need to go... No. Olivia put her phone away. No, I'm staying. They can wait. You sure? I'm sure. This matters more. The simple declaration made Lucas's chest tight. When was the last time anyone had chosen him over work? Over obligations and responsibilities and all the things that supposedly mattered more? They continued through the zoo, Ava's running commentary providing a soundtrack to the afternoon. At the big cat exhibit, she informed them that the lion was clearly a king, despite the sign saying it was female, because she could tell by the way the lion held herself. She has dignity, Ava explained seriously. That's a queen thing. You're absolutely right, Olivia agreed. Dignity is very important. Do you have dignity? I try to. Daddy says dignity means not letting people make you feel small. Lucas felt heat creep up his neck. I was talking about dealing with bullies at school. But it applies everywhere, Olivia said. Your daddy's teaching you important things. They grabbed lunch at the zoo cafe, overpriced sandwiches that Ava declared were medium good, and found a table in the shade. Olivia's phone rang 3 times during lunch. She silenced it each time, but Lucas could see the tension building in her shoulders. Seriously, if you need to deal with that, I don't want to deal with that. I want to be here. But her eyes kept drifting to her phone. Ava, with the perception kids sometimes had, picked up on the tension. Is someone bothering you? Just work stuff, sweetie. Daddy gets bothered by work stuff too. He says sometimes fixing people problems is harder than fixing building problems. Your daddy's very wise. By mid-afternoon, Ava was starting to fade. Her steps slowed and she leaned more heavily against Lucas when they stopped to look at exhibits. He picked her up, carrying her on his shoulders the way he'd done since she was tiny. I'm not sleepy, she insisted, her words slightly slurred. Of course not. Just resting my eyes. Within minutes, she was asleep against the top of Lucas's head, her small hands tangled in his hair. He exchanged a smile with Olivia. Should we head back? Olivia suggested quietly. Yeah, probably. They walked slowly toward the exit, trying not to wake Ava. Other families streamed past them, kids running ahead, parents calling out warnings. Normal Sunday afternoon stuff. The kind of ordinary Lucas had thought he'd lost forever when Sarah died. But here he was, walking through a zoo with a sleeping kid on his shoulders and a woman beside him who made him feel something he'd thought was gone. Hope. Simple, terrifying hope. In the parking lot, Lucas carefully transferred Ava to her car seat. She stirred but didn't wake, her head lolling to the side. He buckled her in, making sure her favorite stuffed rabbit was within reach. She's so peaceful when she sleeps, Olivia observed. Yeah, too bad she's a terror when she's awake. I heard that, Ava mumbled without opening her eyes. No, you didn't. You're asleep. I'm not. Are too. Love you, Daddy? Lucas felt his throat tighten. Love you too, Bug. He closed the car door gently, turning to find Olivia watching him with an expression he couldn't quite read. What? He asked. Nothing, just, you're really good at this, the dad thing. I'm winging it most of the time. We're all winging it, you just make it look easy. Trust me, it's not. Olivia stepped closer, and Lucas became aware they were standing in a parking lot, having a moment like teenagers. But he didn't care. Her hand found his, fingers intertwining. Thank you for today, she said. I can't remember the last time I did something this normal. Normal is my specialty. It's not, though. This, us, it's anything but normal. Lucas knew what she meant, a CEO and a maintenance guy. Different worlds, different lives. By any logical standard, this shouldn't work. Does that bother you? He asked. How not normal this is. Honestly, it's the best thing about it. They stood there for a moment longer, close enough that Lucas could see the flecks of gold in her eyes, could count the freckles across her nose that makeup usually hid. He wanted to kiss her again, wanted to pull her close and forget about all the complications. Instead, his phone rang. Marcus's name flashed on the screen. Lucas considered ignoring it, but something in his gut told him not to. "Sorry, I should take it," Olivia said, stepping back. "Bennett," Lucas answered. "Hey man, sorry to bug you on Sunday, but we got a problem. Big one." Lucas felt his stomach drop. "What kind of problem?" "Main water line to the building. Something's wrong with the pressure. Jerry came in to check on something else and noticed it. If it's what I think it is, we're looking at a full shutdown tomorrow if we don't fix it now." "How bad?" "Bad enough that I need you here. I know it's your day off." "I'll be there in 30 minutes. Lucas hung up, already mentally shifting gears. Ava was asleep, which meant calling Mrs. Chen. Then getting to the building. Then probably spending the rest of the day and possibly the night dealing with whatever crisis was unfolding. "Everything okay?" Olivia asked. "Water line issue at the building. I need to go in." "Right now?" "Right now." Lucas ran a hand through his hair. "I'm sorry. I know we were supposed to—" "Don't apologize. I understand work emergencies." "Yeah, but—" "Lucas." Olivia touched his arm. "It's fine, really. Go take care of it." But it wasn't fine. Lucas could see the disappointment in her eyes, even as she smiled and pretended it didn't matter. Another Sunday interrupted. Another moment stolen by work. "Can I call you later?" he asked. "Of course." They said goodbye quickly, awkwardly, the spell of the afternoon broken by reality. Lucas drove home, Ava still sleeping in the back seat. He called Mrs. Chen, who assured him she could watch Ava for however long needed. Within an hour, Lucas was back at Hartfield Tower, descending into the mechanical spaces where water lines ran through the building's guts. Marcus and Jerry were already there, both looking stressed. "Talk to me," Lucas said, pulling on his work gloves. Marcus pointed to a gauge. "Pressure's dropping in the main line. Started about 2 hours ago. I'm thinking there's a leak somewhere in the system, but it's not showing up on any of our monitors. Could be a slow leak building up over time. That's what I'm worried about. If it gives out completely, we'll have to shut down water to the whole building on a Monday morning with 2,000 employees." Exactly. They spent the next 3 hours tracing the line, checking connections, looking for any sign of failure. The work was tedious, dirty, and frustrating. Lucas's mind kept drifting to Olivia, to the way the day had felt before this emergency pulled him away. Around 8 p.m., Jerry found the problem. A hairline crack in a joint that was slowly leaking water into the walls. Small enough to miss on casual inspection, big enough to cause serious damage if left alone. "We need to replace this whole section," Jerry said. "Tonight." Lucas nodded, already calculating. They'd need supplies from the warehouse, which was across town, then the actual replacement, which would take hours. He wouldn't be home before midnight at the earliest. "I'll call the supplier," Marcus said. "Jerry, you handle getting the section isolated. Lucas, I'll start prepping for the replacement." His phone buzzed. A text from Olivia. "How's it going? Found the problem? Going to be a long night? Need anything?" Lucas smiled despite his exhaustion. "Coffee would be amazing, but you don't have to—" "I'm bringing coffee. What's everyone's order?" Lucas stared at his phone, surprised. "You're serious?" "Completely. Text me the orders and an address for delivery." After checking with Marcus and Jerry, Lucas sent back 3 black coffees, largest size available. "You really don't have to do this." "I want to. Besides, gives me an excuse to see you." An hour later, Olivia appeared in the basement with a carrier holding 3 massive coffees and a bag from a sandwich shop. She'd changed from her zoo clothes into jeans and a sweater, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. Marcus and Jerry both did double takes when they saw who was delivering their coffee. "Ms. Hart?" Marcus looked completely confused. "What are you—" "Bringing supplies to the hardest working crew in the building," Olivia said smoothly, distributing coffees. "Lucas mentioned you were dealing with a crisis. You didn't have to come all the way down here. I was nearby anyway." That was almost certainly a lie, but Marcus was too tired to question it. He accepted the coffee gratefully, and Jerry mumbled thanks while eyeing Olivia with undisguised curiosity. "I'll let you guys work," Olivia said. "Just wanted to make sure you were taken care of." She started to leave, but Lucas caught her hand. "Can you hang on a second?" They stepped into the hallway out of earshot of the others. Lucas was acutely aware of how he must look, covered in grime, sweaty, exhausted. "Thank you," he said, "for the coffee, for coming down here. It's just coffee." "It's not, though. You didn't have to do this." Olivia smiled. "I wanted to see you, even if it's just for a minute in a basement hallway. I'm sorry about today, about having to leave." "Stop apologizing. I get it, Lucas. I really do." She touched his face, her hand gentle despite the dirt on his cheek. "This is your job. These emergencies happen. I'm not going to be the person who makes you feel guilty for doing what you need to do. You're pretty amazing. You know that?" "I'm really not. I'm just—" Lucas kissed her, cutting off whatever self-deprecating thing she was about to say. When they pulled apart, Olivia was smiling. "Okay, maybe I'm a little amazing," she admitted. "More than a little?" A throat cleared behind them. Marcus stood in the doorway, looking uncomfortable. "Sorry to interrupt, but Lucas, we need you. Supplier's here with the parts. Be right there?" After Marcus left, Olivia squeezed Lucas's hand. "Go, fix your water line. Call me when you're done. It's going to be really late." "I'll be up. I always am." She left and Lucas returned to work with renewed energy. Marcus shot him a knowing look but didn't comment. Jerry, less subtle, grinned widely. "So that's why you've been smiling at your phone all week. Shut up and hand me that wrench." The repair took until after midnight. By the time they finished, Lucas was so exhausted he could barely think straight. But the line was fixed, pressure restored, crisis averted. The building would open Monday morning with working water and nobody would ever know how close they'd come to disaster. In the truck, Lucas checked his phone. A message from Mrs. Chen said Ava was asleep and everything was fine. Another message from Olivia. "Still awake? How'd it go?" Instead of texting, Lucas called. She answered on the first ring. "Hi." Her voice was soft, tired. "Hi. We got it fixed." "That's good. You sound exhausted." "I am. But I wanted to hear your voice." "I'm glad you called." A pause. "Can I tell you something?" "Anything." "Today was one of the best days I've had in years, even with the work emergency at the end, maybe especially because of it." "Yeah? Why?" "Because it felt real. Like actual life, not just the performance I usually put on. Waffles and zoos and magic penguins and waterline emergencies. Just real." Lucas felt something warm spread through his chest. "I'm glad. It felt pretty real to me too. When can I see you again?" "Soon. I'll check my schedule and—" "No." Olivia's voice was firm. "No scheduling. No planning ahead. Just, when can you make time? Even if it's just an hour." Lucas thought about his week, the long shifts, the overtime he'd already committed to, the careful juggling of Ava's needs and work demands. "Wednesday night," he said. "After I put Ava to bed. I could meet you somewhere." "My place. I'll cook dinner." "You cook?" "I'm about to learn. How hard can it be?" Lucas laughed. Famous last words, but okay. Wednesday night. They talked for another 20 minutes, about nothing important and everything important, about the way Ava had narrated the penguins' lives and how Lucas had nearly dropped a wrench on Jerry's foot, about Olivia's board meeting on Tuesday and the acquisition deal that was driving her crazy. Finally, reluctantly, they said goodnight. Lucas drove home through empty streets, windows down, cool air helping him stay awake. Mrs. Chen was dozing on his couch again, and he thanked her profusely before she headed home. In the shower, washing away the grime of the day, Lucas thought about how much had changed in such a short time. A month ago, his life had been simple. Work, Ava, sleep, repeat. Lonely, but manageable. Safe. Now everything felt complicated and uncertain and terrifying, and somehow, despite all his fear, it also felt right. The next 3 days passed in a blur of work and anticipation. Lucas fixed HVAC systems and replaced light fixtures and dealt with a dozen small emergencies. Ava had a project due on Friday, which meant several late nights helping her build a diorama about ecosystems. "Why does it have to be so complicated?" Ava complained, gluing a plastic tree to a shoebox. "Because ecosystems are complicated." "I don't like complicated. Join the club, bug." Tuesday night, Olivia called while Lucas was cleaning up glue and construction paper. She sounded stressed, her voice tight. Bad day? He asked. The board voted to move forward with the acquisition, against my recommendation. I'm sorry. I tried to stop it, presented all the data, explained the risks. They didn't care. They wanted the optics. Lucas heard the frustration in her voice, the exhaustion. What happens now? Now I have to make it work anyway, because that's my job. A bitter laugh. Sometimes I wonder why I fought so hard to get here, to this position where I have all the responsibility but only some of the power. You could quit. And do what? This is all I know, all I've built. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it shouldn't be all you have. Olivia was quiet for a long moment. You're right. I know you're right, but changing feels impossible. Small steps, Lucas said, thinking about his own journey. You don't have to change everything at once. Just make room for something else. Something that matters. Like what? Like waffles on Sunday mornings. Like magic penguins. Like coffee in basement hallways at midnight. He heard her breath catch. Like you? Yeah, like me. If you want. I do want, more than I've wanted anything in a long time. Then make room for it. For us. I'm scared, Lucas. What if I'm not good at this? At being with someone? Then we'll figure it out together. That's what people do. Another pause, then, tomorrow night, I'm still cooking dinner even though I'll probably burn whatever I'm making. I'm looking forward to it, burnt food and all. After they hung up, Lucas helped Ava finish her ecosystem diorama. She'd created an elaborate forest scene with entirely too many animals for any real ecosystem, but she was proud of it. It's perfect, Lucas declared. You have to say that. You're my dad. I mean it. Your teacher's going to love it. Daddy? Ava looked up from the diorama. Is Olivia your girlfriend now? The question caught Lucas off guard. Would that bother you if she was? I don't think so. She's nice, and she likes waffles. Those are good qualities. But she's not mommy. No, she's not, and she's not trying to be. Ava nodded seriously. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Make sure of what, Bug? That you still remember Mommy. That we both remember her. Lucas pulled Ava into his lap, holding her close. I will never stop remembering your mother. Never. She was the most important person in my life until you came along. And now you're the most important person. That will never change. But you like Olivia too. Yeah, I do. Is that okay? I think so. Ava leaned against his chest. Maya says her dad has a new wife, and she was sad at first, but now she likes her stepmom. Do you think Olivia will be my stepmom? Whoa, slow down there. We've only been on a couple dates. But you want her to be, don't you? Lucas thought about it honestly. I don't know yet. We're still getting to know each other, but yeah, maybe someday. Would that be okay with you? As long as she keeps liking waffles. That's your standard for everything. It's a good standard. Wednesday arrived with anxious anticipation that made Lucas feel ridiculous. He was 40 years old, not 16, but he found himself changing shirts 3 times before leaving to meet Olivia, checking his reflection obsessively. Mrs. Chen smiled knowingly when she arrived to watch Ava. Have fun on your date. It's just dinner. That's why you've changed clothes 4 times. It was 3 times, and you're enjoying this way too much. Olivia's building was everything Lucas expected. Sleek, modern, with a doorman who looked at him suspiciously until Lucas gave Olivia's name. The elevator to the penthouse was made of glass and chrome, so different from the service elevators Lucas usually rode. The doors opened directly into Olivia's apartment, and Lucas stepped into a space that felt like it belonged in a magazine. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, the light spreading out like stars. Modern furniture in shades of gray and white. Art that probably cost more than Lucas made in a year. And in the middle of it all, Olivia stood in the kitchen, looking adorably frazzled, wearing an apron over her jeans. Don't laugh, she warned as he approached. I'm not laughing. You're smiling, though. Can you blame me? You look cute. I look like I'm losing a battle with a chicken. Lucas looked at the counter where a raw chicken sat surrounded by various ingredients in at least 3 different cookbooks. What are you trying to make? Chicken piccata. It looked easy in the video. And now? Now I'm realizing I may have been overly optimistic. Lucas took off his jacket, rolling up his sleeves. Okay, show me what you've got so far. Together they worked through the recipe. Olivia had bought everything they needed but had no idea how to put it together. Lucas, who'd learned to cook by necessity after Sarah died, guided her through the steps. You're really good at this, Olivia observed, watching him pound the chicken flat. Practice. You cook every night for 3 years, you get decent at it. Teach me? So Lucas did, standing behind her, guiding her hands as she coated the chicken in flour. His chest pressed against her back, his arms around her, and cooking became secondary to the warmth of being close. You're distracting me, Olivia murmured. You're the one who asked for help. I'm starting to think I had ulterior motives. The chicken actually turned out well, better than Lucas expected for Olivia's first attempt. They ate at her dining table, the city glittering beyond the windows, and it felt surreal. Lucas Bennett, maintenance guy from the South Side, having dinner in a penthouse with a woman who belonged in a different stratosphere. But when Olivia laughed at his story about Jerry getting locked in a supply closet, when she listened intently as he talked about Ava's ecosystem project, when she reached across the table to take his hand, in those moments, the difference between their worlds seemed to shrink. I like this, Olivia said quietly. Being here with you, it feels real? Yeah, real. After dinner, they moved to the couch, wine glasses in hand. Lucas felt out of place on furniture that probably cost more than his truck, but Olivia curled against him, her head on his shoulder, and that felt perfectly natural. Can I ask you something? Olivia said. Sure. What are we doing? Really? Lucas thought about it. I think we're taking a chance, seeing if two people from different worlds can build something together. And if we can't? Then at least we tried. At least we didn't let fear stop us. Olivia lifted her head, looking at him. I'm falling for you, Lucas. That terrifies me. I'm falling for you too. And yeah, it's terrifying. So what do we do? Lucas pulled her closer, kissing her softly. We keep falling. We see where it takes us. They stayed like that for hours, talking and kissing and just being together. Around midnight, Lucas reluctantly said he needed to go. Early shift in the morning, and Mrs. Chen had school the next day. At the door, Olivia held on to him like she didn't want to let go. I wish you could stay, she whispered. Me too. But Ava, I know. Your daughter comes first. I love that about you. Soon, though, maybe this weekend if Mrs. Chen can watch Ava overnight, I could… Yes. Whatever you're about to suggest, yes. Lucas kissed her again, long and deep, trying to convey everything he felt but didn't quite have words for yet. When he finally pulled away, they were both breathing hard. Good night, Olivia. Good night, Lucas. The drive home felt dreamlike. Lucas couldn't stop smiling, couldn't stop replaying the evening in his mind. This was happening. Actually, truly happening. He was falling in love again, despite all his fear, despite all the very logical reasons why this was complicated. And for the first time since Sarah died, that felt okay. Better than okay, it felt like coming back to life. The following weeks unfolded with a rhythm that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. Lucas found himself navigating two worlds. The familiar one of early mornings with Ava, maintenance emergencies, and Mrs. Chen's kitchen smells drifting through the walls, and this new one where Olivia existed, bringing complications and possibilities he'd thought were behind him forever. They saw each other when they could, stolen hours between Lucas's shifts and Olivia's endless meetings. Sometimes it was coffee before work, Olivia arriving at the corner shop near Lucas's apartment looking beautifully out of place in her business attire. Other times it was late dinners after Ava went to bed, quiet conversations that stretched past midnight. But the complications were growing harder to ignore. Marcus cornered Lucas one morning in the maintenance break room, his expression serious. We need to talk. Lucas felt his stomach drop. About what? About you and Ms. Hart. Marcus held up a hand before Lucas could protest. Look, I don't care what you do on your own time, but people are noticing, and if HR gets wind of it, there could be problems. We're not doing anything wrong. You're dating the CEO. That's against company policy for anyone in a subordinate position. I'm not in her department. I don't report to her. Doesn't matter. The policy is clear. Marcus's voice softened. I'm telling you this as a friend, not your supervisor. Be careful. Because if this becomes official, they're going to make you choose between the job and her. The warning sat heavy in Lucas's chest for the rest of the day. That evening, when Olivia called, he almost didn't answer. Almost let it ring through to voicemail so he wouldn't have to confront the reality of what Marcus had said. But he answered. Hey, Olivia's voice was warm. Bad time? No, just long day. Want to talk about it? So Lucas told her about Marcus's warning, about the company policy he hadn't even known existed. Olivia was quiet for a long moment. I should have thought of that, she said finally. I'm so used to making my own rules. I forgot other people can't. What do we do? I don't know. I could talk to HR, see if there's an exception. That'll just make it worse. Everyone will know, and then it becomes this big thing. Lucas, I'm not going to hide you. I'm not going to pretend this isn't happening. I'm not asking you to hide. I'm just saying we need to be smart about it. The conversation left them both frustrated. The easy warmth of their relationship suddenly weighed down by reality. They said goodnight with promises to figure it out, but Lucas lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling. The next morning brought a different kind of crisis. Ava came down with a fever, her small body burning hot, her usual energy completely gone. Lucas called in sick, something he almost never did, and spent the day monitoring her temperature, forcing fluids, reading stories in a quiet voice. My throat hurts, Ava whispered around noon. I know, Bug. The medicine should help soon. Can Olivia come over? The question surprised Lucas. She's at work, sweetheart, and you're sick. You need to rest. But I want her here. Ava's eyes filled with tears. When I'm sick, I want my family. And Olivia feels like family now. The words hit Lucas like a physical blow. Somewhere along the way, without him quite realizing it, Olivia had become woven into the fabric of their lives. Not replacing Sarah, nothing could do that, but creating something new beside that memory. I'll text her, Lucas said gently. But she might not be able to come. She has important meetings. Okay? Lucas sent a simple message. Ava's sick, fever and sore throat. She asked for you. The response came within minutes. On my way. What does she need? You don't have to. I'm already leaving. Text me your address again. 40 minutes later, Olivia appeared at the door with a bag from the pharmacy. Children's medicine, popsicles, a stuffed bear holding a heart. She'd left whatever important meeting she had without hesitation. Ava's face lit up when she saw Olivia, despite her fever. You came. Of course I came. Olivia sat on the edge of Ava's bed, pressing a cool hand to her forehead. Your dad said you weren't feeling well. My throat really hurts. I brought popsicles. Those always helped me when I was sick. They spent the afternoon together, all three of them, Olivia reading stories while Lucas monitored Ava's temperature. Around 3 p.m., Olivia's phone kept buzzing. She kept silencing it. You can take that, Lucas said quietly. I know you have work. This is more important. Olivia, Lucas, stop. I chose to be here. Let me choose. But later, when Ava had finally fallen into a real sleep, Olivia checked her messages and her expression darkened. What's wrong? Lucas asked. Richard's been calling. The acquisition deal is falling apart. They need me to sign off on some emergency measures. You should go. I don't want to leave you alone with a sick kid. I've done this before, many times. Go handle your crisis. Olivia looked torn, her phone still buzzing insistently. I hate this, feeling pulled in different directions. Welcome to my world. It's called life. How do you do it? Balance everything? Lucas thought about all the times he'd felt like he was failing at everything, spreading himself too thin. Honestly, I don't balance it. I just do the best I can and hope it's enough. Olivia kissed him softly. Call me if you need anything, even just to talk. I will. Go save your company. After she left, Lucas sat in the quiet apartment, listening to Ava's congested breathing from the bedroom. His phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Heard you called in. Everything okay? Ava's sick. Should be back tomorrow. No rush. Take care of your kid. That was the difference, Lucas thought. In his world, family emergencies were understood, expected. But in Olivia's world, Leaving a meeting to tend to someone else's sick child was probably seen as weakness, a lack of commitment. How were they supposed to bridge that gap? Ava's fever broke during the night, and by Friday morning she was demanding waffles, which Lucas took as a sign she was recovering. He returned to work, dealing with the backlog of maintenance requests that had piled up during his day off. At lunch, Rodriguez cornered him in the break room. "So, you and the Ice Queen, huh?" Lucas felt his jaw tighten. "Don't call her that. Everyone calls her that." "Well, they shouldn't. She has a name." Rodriguez held up his hands. "Easy, man. I'm just saying, word's getting around. People are talking." "Let them talk." "I'm serious, Lucas. You need to be careful. This building runs on gossip, and if HR hears about it, I know. Marcus already warned me. And I don't know what to do about it." Rodriguez studied him for a moment. "You really care about her, don't you?" "Yeah, I really do." "Then maybe it's worth the risk. Just be smart about it." That evening, Lucas picked Ava up from Mrs. Chen's and found a note waiting. "Board meeting went late. Can I see you this weekend?" Lucas called her back. "Hey, how'd the meeting go?" "Disaster. We're hemorrhaging money on this acquisition, and the board won't admit it was a mistake." Olivia sounded exhausted. "I'm sorry I couldn't check in earlier." "How's Ava?" "Much better, demanding waffles this morning." "That's a good sign." A pause. "Lucas, about this weekend. I know we planned to spend time together, but I'm going to need to work through most of it. This acquisition is imploding, and I have to contain the damage." "It's okay. I understand. I don't want to cancel on you. Olivia, it's fine. Your company needs you. We'll figure out another time." But it wasn't fine, and they both knew it. This was the third weekend in a row that Olivia's work had taken priority. Lucas understood. Intellectually, he got it. But emotionally, it felt like being chosen last. Again. Saturday morning, Ava asked why Olivia wasn't coming over. "She has to work, Bug. She always has to work." "She has an important job." Ava looked at him with those too perceptive 7-year-old eyes. "Doesn't she want to see us?" "Of course she does. She just has responsibilities." "Don't we count as responsibilities?" The question gutted him. How did you explain to a child that sometimes adult responsibilities competed with each other? That wanting to be somewhere didn't always mean you could be there? "We count," Lucas said firmly. "We absolutely count." But later, lying in bed unable to sleep, Lucas wondered if they really did. Maybe this whole thing had been a fantasy from the start. Maybe two people from such different worlds couldn't actually build something lasting. Sunday afternoon, Olivia called, her voice thick with tears. "Can you come over?" she asked. "Please? I know it's short notice and you probably have plans, but I really need... I'll be there in an hour." Mrs. Chen agreed to watch Ava without question, and Lucas drove to Olivia's building with growing concern. Something was wrong. Really wrong. Olivia answered the door looking like she'd been crying for hours. Her hair was disheveled, makeup smeared, wearing sweatpants Lucas had never seen her in before. "What happened?" Lucas asked, pulling her into his arms. "The acquisition collapsed. Completely. We're going to lose millions. The board is calling for my resignation." "What? They can't do that." "They can, and they're probably right to." Olivia pulled away, pacing her living room. "I should have fought harder. Should have refused to move forward, but I let them pressure me, and now it's all falling apart." "This isn't your fault." "It is, though. I'm the CEO. It's my responsibility." Lucas watched her unravel, this woman who always seemed so composed, so in control. She looked lost and scared and completely human. "What do you need?" he asked. "I don't know. I couldn't be alone right now." Lucas guided her to the couch, pulling her close. They sat in silence for a long time, Olivia's tears soaking into his shirt, the city glittering beyond the windows like nothing was wrong. "I'm tired," Olivia whispered finally. "I'm so tired of fighting, of being the one who has to have all the answers." "So stop." "I can't. This is who I am, what I built my whole life around." "Maybe that's the problem." Lucas chose his words carefully. "Maybe you've been holding on to something that doesn't make you happy anymore." Olivia pulled back, looking at him. "What are you saying?" I'm saying that life is too short to spend it doing things that make you miserable. Trust me, I know. I spent 3 years just surviving, telling myself that was enough. It wasn't. So what did you do? I started taking chances, started letting myself feel again, started believing that maybe I deserved more than just getting through each day. And look where that got you. Dating someone who can't even make time for you on weekends. The words hung heavy between them. Lucas felt something crack in his chest. Is that what you think? He asked quietly. That you're not making time for me? I'm not, though. I keep canceling plans, keep choosing work over you and Ava. I'm doing exactly what I swore I wouldn't do. So change it. I don't know how. Yes, you do. You just have to decide what matters more. Olivia stood up, anger flashing in her eyes. That's easy for you to say. You don't have thousands of people depending on you. You don't have a board breathing down your neck, investors watching your every move. You're right, I don't. I have a 7-year-old who asks why you're not around. I have a job where people are gossiping about us. I have a life that's getting more complicated every day because I let myself fall for someone who might not have room for me in hers. That's not fair, isn't it? Lucas stood too, facing her. When's the last time we spent a full day together without work interrupting? When's the last time you put your phone away and just existed with us? I'm trying, Lucas. I'm trying to make this work. Are you? Because from where I'm standing, it feels like I'm the only one trying. The words came out harsher than Lucas intended, but they were true. He'd been making excuses, telling himself Olivia's schedule would ease up, that things would get better. But they weren't getting better. They were getting harder. Olivia's face crumpled. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm not capable of this, of being the person you need. That's not what I'm saying, but it's true, isn't it? You need someone who can be present, who can show up for pancake breakfasts and zoo trips and sick days, someone whose whole life isn't consumed by board meetings and acquisitions. I need someone who wants to make room for us, Lucas said. That's all. Just someone who's willing to try. I am trying. Then prove it. Lucas's voice rose, frustration boiling over. Stop telling me you're trying and actually do it. Choose us. Not someday, not when things calm down. Now. The silence that followed was deafening. Olivia stared at him, tears streaming down her face, and Lucas felt his heart breaking. I don't know if I can, she whispered. This company, this career, it's all I've known for 20 years. It's who I am. No, it's what you do. Who you are is the woman who showed up to my apartment with popsicles for a sick kid, who laughed at magic penguins and learned to make chicken piccata, who looked at me like I mattered. You do matter. Then act like it. Lucas moved closer, taking her hands. I'm not asking you to quit your job or abandon your career. I'm asking you to make space for something else. For us. Olivia looked down at their joined hands. What if I can't? What if I'm too damaged, too focused on work to ever really let someone in? Then we'll figure it out together. But you have to meet me halfway, Olivia. I can't do this alone. She nodded slowly, fresh tears falling. I'm scared. Me too. But isn't that the point? Isn't love supposed to be scary? Is that what this is? Love? Lucas had been avoiding the word, afraid of moving too fast, of scaring her away. But standing in her penthouse with her tear-stained face looking up at him, there was no point in hiding anymore. Yeah, he said softly. I think it is. I'm in love with you, Olivia Hart. Despite the complications and the different worlds and all the very logical reasons this shouldn't work, I'm in love with you. Olivia made a sound somewhere between a laugh and a sob. I love you too. That's what makes this so hard. I finally found something real, and I don't know how to hold on to it without destroying everything else. You don't have to destroy anything. You just have to make different choices. Like what? Like actually taking your weekends off sometimes. Like not checking your phone during dinner. Like showing up when you say you will, even if it means someone at the office has to figure things out without you. The board will never accept that. Then maybe you need a different board, or a different company, or maybe you need to remember that you're the CEO, which means you actually have the power to set boundaries. Olivia laughed, surprised. You make it sound so simple. It is simple. It's just not easy. Lucas touched her face gently. But nothing worth having ever is. They stood there for a moment, the weight of everything unsaid hanging between them. Then Olivia stepped closer, wrapping her arms around him. "I want to try," she whispered against his chest. "Really try. Not just say the words, but actually change." "Then let's start now. Tomorrow's Monday. What if instead of going into the office at 6 a.m., you came to my place for breakfast? We could have waffles with Ava before school." "Just like that?" "Just like that. One small choice. One morning where you choose us instead of work." Olivia pulled back, looking at him with something like wonder. "Okay. Yes. I'll be there." "Really?" "Really. I'll text my assistant, tell her I'm coming in late. The world won't end if I miss one morning meeting." Lucas kissed her, soft and full of promise. "This is a good start." They spent the rest of the evening talking, really talking, about what they both needed from this relationship. Lucas admitted his fear that he was just a distraction, someone Olivia would eventually outgrow when the novelty wore off. Olivia confessed her terror that she'd repeat her parents' mistakes, letting work consume her until there was nothing else left. "My father died at his desk," she said quietly. "Heart attack at 59. He'd been working 18-hour days for months. The funeral was full of business associates and barely any actual friends." "Is that the life you want?" "It's the life I've been building, the life I thought I wanted." Olivia looked around her penthouse, at all the expensive furnishings and the view that cost millions. "But none of this matters if I'm alone in it." "You're not alone. Not anymore." Around midnight, Lucas reluctantly said he needed to go home. Mrs. Chen had school in the morning, and he couldn't abuse her kindness any further. At the door, Olivia held on to him like she was afraid he might disappear. "I'll see you tomorrow morning," she said. "For waffles, I promise. I'll hold you to that." Lucas drove home through quiet streets, his mind churning. This relationship was hard, harder than anything with Sarah had been, because Sarah had existed in his world naturally. There'd been no gulf to bridge, no competing demands on their time. But maybe that was okay. Maybe the difficulty was what made it worthwhile. The next morning, Lucas made waffle batter while Ava got ready for school. At 7:30, right when he was starting to think Olivia might not show, the doorbell rang. Ava ran to answer it, and Lucas heard her squeal of delight. "Olivia, you came!" "Of course I came. I promised, didn't I?" They appeared in the kitchen, Ava clutching Olivia's hand, beaming. Olivia looked tired, like maybe she hadn't slept much, but she was smiling. "I hope you made extra batter," she said. "I'm starving." They ate breakfast together. The three of them crowded around Lucas's small table. Ava chattered about her upcoming field trip to the aquarium, about how Maya had taught her a new hand-clapping game, about everything and nothing with the unself-conscious ease of childhood. Olivia listened with genuine interest, asking questions, laughing at Ava's jokes. And Lucas watched them both, feeling something settle in his chest. This was real. Messy and complicated and sometimes painful, but real. After breakfast, Olivia helped Ava gather her school things while Lucas cleaned up. At the door, ready to leave for the bus stop, Ava suddenly turned to Olivia. "Will you be here when I get home?" Olivia glanced at Lucas, uncertain. He gave a small nod. Let her decide. Let her make the choice. "I have to work this afternoon," Olivia said carefully. "But how about this? I'll come over for dinner tonight. Is that okay?" "Yes!" Ava hugged her quickly. "Can we have mac and cheese?" "Whatever you want." After Ava left for school, Olivia lingered in the doorway. "Was that okay? Promising to come back tonight?" "More than okay, as long as you actually show up." "I will. I'm putting it in my calendar right now." Olivia pulled out her phone, making a show of creating the event. There. 6 p.m. dinner with Lucas and Ava. Meeting marked as unavoidable. "You're scheduling us?" "That's how I make sure things happen, by putting them in my calendar and treating them like they matter." "Do we matter?" Olivia stepped closer, taking his hands. "More than anything else in my calendar. More than board meetings and conference calls and acquisitions. You matter, Lucas, both of you." Lucas kissed her goodbye, watching from the window as her driver pulled away. Then he got ready for work himself, feeling lighter than he had in weeks. At the building, Marcus caught him in the hallway. "You look happy." "I am. Things worked out with Ms. Hart?" "Getting there. It's complicated, but we're figuring it out. Marcus clapped him on the shoulder. Good. You deserve to be happy, man. Just still be careful, okay? Until you figure out what to do about the company policy. That policy hung over them like a sword, waiting to fall. But Lucas pushed the worry aside. They'd deal with it when they had to. The day passed in the usual rhythm of repairs and emergencies. Around 4 p.m., Olivia texted, "Still on for tonight?" "Meeting ran long, but I'm leaving the office now. We're on. Ava's been talking about it all afternoon. What can I bring? Just yourself." Olivia arrived at 6:15, apologizing for being late. She'd changed from her business clothes into jeans and a sweater, and she brought flowers for the table and ice cream for dessert. Dinner was chaotic and perfect. Ava told ridiculous jokes that made no sense. Lucas burned the garlic bread. Olivia accidentally knocked over her water glass, and they all laughed while cleaning it up. This was what life could be, Lucas thought. Not perfect or polished, but full of small joys and silly moments and the warmth of people who cared about each other. After dinner, while Lucas cleaned up, Ava dragged Olivia to her room to show her a new drawing. Lucas listened to their voices drifting down the hall, Ava's excited explanations and Olivia's patient questions. His phone buzzed. An email from HR requesting a meeting for Wednesday afternoon regarding workplace relationship disclosure. Someone had reported them. Lucas felt his stomach drop. This was it, the moment he'd been dreading. When Olivia came back to the kitchen, she must have seen something in his face. "What's wrong?" He showed her the email. Olivia read it, her expression hardening. "They want you to disclose our relationship." "Yeah. And then what? They'll make you choose between the job and me?" "Probably." Olivia set down the phone, her jaw tight. "No, that's not going to happen." "Olivia, I'm serious. I'm not letting them do this to you." She pulled out her own phone, typing rapidly. "I'm calling an emergency board meeting. This policy is outdated and unfair, and I'm changing it." "You can't do that." "Watch me. I'm the CEO. If I can't change a ridiculous HR policy, what's the point of having the position?" Lucas caught her hands, stilling them. "Stop. Just stop and think about this." "I have thought about it. I'm not letting you lose your job because of me. And I'm not letting you pick a fight with your board over this. They're already talking about your resignation. Don't give them more ammunition." "I don't care." "Yes, you do. You've built this company. I'm not worth throwing that away." Olivia looked at him like he'd lost his mind. "You're worth everything. Don't you understand that? I spent 20 years building something that left me completely alone. And then I found you, found Ava, found this." She gestured around the small apartment. "This matters more than any company." "You don't mean that." "I absolutely mean it." Olivia's voice was fierce. "If they make you choose, then I'll make a choice too. I'll step down as CEO." "Olivia, no." "Why not?" "You said it yourself. I need to decide what matters more." "Well, you matter more. You and Ava, not the board or the shareholders or the company reputation. You." Lucas felt tears prick his eyes. "You can't give up everything you've worked for." "It's not giving up. It's choosing. Finally choosing what actually makes me happy." They stood in the kitchen, the weight of the decision hanging between them. From Ava's room came the sound of her singing to herself, oblivious to the adult complications swirling around her. "What if there's another way?" Lucas said slowly. "What do you mean?" "What if I quit first? Before the meeting? Before they can fire me?" "Absolutely not." "Listen. If I quit, it removes the power dynamic. We're not violating company policy if I don't work there anymore." "Lucas, you need this job. You have Ava to support." "I'll find another job. I'm good at what I do. And I've been thinking about getting my contractor's license anyway. Maybe this is the push I need." "You shouldn't have to do that because of me." "I'm not doing it because of you. I'm doing it because I'm choosing us too. I'm choosing this." Lucas touched her face gently. "I'm choosing a life where I don't have to hide who I care about, where my daughter doesn't have to wonder why the woman I love can't come to her school events because of some stupid policy." "Are you sure?" "I'm terrified, but yeah, I'm sure." Olivia kissed him, desperate and grateful and full of love. "We'll figure it out, together. I'll help you get your license, find clients. You won't be doing this alone." "I know." The next morning, Lucas submitted his resignation to Marcus, who looked both surprised and understanding. You're really doing this? Yeah, it's time. What are you going to do? Start my own business, do contract work, be my own boss for once. Marcus studied him. This is about her, isn't it? About not having to follow the policy. Partly. But it's also about me. About building something I actually want instead of just settling. I get it. Marcus extended his hand. You're good at what you do, Bennett. You'll do fine on your own. The 2 weeks of notice passed in a blur. Word spread through the building about Lucas and Olivia, the whispers following him through the halls. Some people looked at him with judgment, others with something like envy, the maintenance guy who'd somehow won the CEO's heart. Olivia, true to her word, had fought with the board about the relationship policy. She hadn't won, not completely, but she'd gotten them to agree to revise it for future cases. Small steps, she'd said. Progress took time. On Lucas's last day, Olivia came down to the maintenance break room with a small crowd. Marcus, Jerry, Rodriguez, even Patricia from the executive suite. I wanted to thank you, Olivia said, her CEO voice firmly in place, for your years of service to this building. You've kept everything running smoothly, often under difficult circumstances. We're sorry to see you go. It was formal and professional and completely inadequate for what Lucas actually meant to her, but her eyes told a different story. After everyone left, after Lucas had cleaned out his locker and said his goodbyes, Olivia found him in the parking garage. This is crazy, she said, laughing and crying at the same time. You just quit your job. What are we doing? We're taking a chance, Lucas said, pulling her close. We're betting on us. What if we fail? Then we fail trying, but I don't think we will. The weeks that followed tested them in new ways. Lucas scrambled to get his contractor's license, studying late into the night while Ava slept. Money got tight without his steady paycheck. Olivia helped where she could, connecting him with contacts, helping him set up his business properly. They fought about it sometimes. Lucas's pride bristling when Olivia tried to help too much. Olivia's frustration when Lucas wouldn't accept assistance. But they learned to navigate it, to find the balance between independence and interdependence. 3 months after Lucas left Hartfield Tower, his business was slowly building. Small jobs at first, fixing pipes for Mrs. Chen's friends, electrical work for people in his neighborhood. Word spread. The guy who used to work at Hartfield Tower knows his stuff, fair prices. And through it all, Olivia was there. Not just as financial support, though she helped when Lucas would let her, but as a partner. She learned to actually keep weekends free, started coming to Ava's school events, showed up for waffles more often than not. They weren't perfect. Olivia still worked too much sometimes. Lucas still struggled with money and pride. But they were trying, really trying. 6 months after Lucas quit, on a Saturday morning in early spring, they were at the park again. The same park where Lucas had first invited Olivia, where this whole thing had really started. Ava was on the swings, pumping her legs, going higher and higher. Lucas and Olivia sat on their usual bench, hands intertwined. I have something to tell you, Olivia said, her voice nervous. Lucas felt his heart skip. What is it? The board offered me a new contract, 5 more years as CEO. That's great, isn't it? It would be. Except I'm thinking about saying no. Lucas turned to look at her fully. Why? Because I've been offered something else. A position consulting for smaller companies, setting up their organizational structures. It would be part-time, flexible hours. I could work from home most days. Olivia, you love being CEO. I love parts of it, but I'm tired, Lucas. Tired of the constant fight with the board. Tired of working 80-hour weeks. Tired of missing things that matter because of some meeting. What would you do with all that free time? Olivia smiled, a little shy. I thought maybe I could have waffles with you and Ava more often, help with homework, be there for school events, maybe even, she paused, maybe even think about having a kid of my own. If you'd want that, someday. Not right away, but Lucas felt his throat close up. You're serious? Completely. I know it's fast. I know we're still figuring things out, but when I think about my future, all I see is you and Ava, and maybe more. A real family. You already are family, Lucas said. You have been for months. Yeah? Yeah. Lucas kissed her softly. And for the record, I'd love that. Someday, when we're ready. They sat in comfortable silence, watching Ava play. Around them, the park filled with families, couples with strollers, kids chasing soccer balls, grandparents on benches. All these different configurations of love and family, none of them perfect, all of them trying. "Daddy, Olivia!" Ava ran over, breathless and grinning. "Come push me, both of you!" They walked to the swings together, Lucas on one side, Olivia on the other, pushing Ava higher and higher while she shrieked with laughter. And Lucas thought about how far they'd all come. From that night in the elevator when Olivia had stumbled into his arms, scared and alone. From those first careful conversations. From waffles and penguins and burned chicken piccata. They'd built something real. Something that didn't fit into neat categories or follow predictable patterns. A CEO and a contractor and a 7-year-old girl creating a family that made sense only to them. Later that evening, after dinner at Lucas's apartment, after Ava had gone to bed, Lucas and Olivia sat on the couch. Olivia's head rested on his shoulder, her hand in his. "I'm happy," she said quietly. "I don't think I've ever been able to say that before and really mean it." "Me too. It's scary, though, being this happy makes me worry about losing it." "Then let's not lose it," Lucas said. "Let's keep choosing this, every day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard." "Deal." They sealed it with a kiss, and Lucas thought about Sarah, about how she'd appeared in his dream, telling him to let himself be happy. He liked to think she'd approve of this, of Olivia and Ava laughing together, of the way love had found him again when he'd stopped looking for it. The past didn't disappear. Sarah would always be part of his story, woven into who he was. But the future was unfolding too, full of possibility and promise. 6 months later, Olivia moved out of her penthouse and into a house near Lucas's apartment. Not moving in together, not quite yet, but close enough that Ava could walk between houses. Close enough that family dinners became the norm instead of the exception. A year after that, Lucas proposed. Nothing fancy, just the three of them at the park. Ava holding the ring box, bouncing with excitement because she'd been in on the plan. "Will you marry us?" Lucas asked, making Olivia laugh through her tears. "Both of you?" "We're a package deal," Ava said seriously. "That's what Daddy says." "Then yes," Olivia said, pulling them both into a hug. "Yes to both of you. Yes to all of this." The wedding was small, held in the same park where everything had started. Ava served as both flower girl and ring bearer, taking her job very seriously. Mrs. Chen cried. Marcus and Jerry came, along with a handful of Lucas's other friends from his building days. From Olivia's side, there were fewer people. Some work colleagues, a couple of old friends she'd lost touch with and was rebuilding relationships with. She'd stepped down as CEO 8 months earlier, taking the consulting position. She worked from home 3 days a week now, was there when Ava got off the bus, made dinners that didn't come from takeout containers. She was happy, really, truly happy. As they said their vows under a simple arbor decorated with flowers, Lucas thought about how none of this had been in his plan. After Sarah died, he'd thought that chapter of his life was closed forever. But life, it turned out, had other ideas. 2 years after the wedding, Olivia gave birth to a son. They named him James, and Ava declared herself the best big sister in the world. She taught him about magic penguins and the importance of waffles, created elaborate stories about his stuffed animals, protected him fiercely. Lucas's business had grown steadily. He had steady clients now, could pick and choose his projects, could take time off when family needed him. The financial stress had eased, though they'd never be wealthy by Olivia's old standards. But they had something better than wealth. They had Sunday mornings that stretched lazy and warm, had homework help around the kitchen table, had bedtime stories and family dinners, and the organized chaos of life with 2 kids. One evening, 5 years after that first elevator encounter, Lucas found Olivia standing at the window of their house, James asleep against her shoulder, watching the sunset. "What are you thinking about?" he asked, wrapping his arms around them both. "How different everything is. 5 years ago, I was eating takeout in an empty penthouse, working until midnight every night. Now I'm here, with you and Ava and this little guy." She kissed James's head. "Sometimes I can't believe this is real." "Believe it. We're real. All of this is real." "Best decision I ever made," Olivia said, walking into that elevator that night. Staying when I wanted to run, choosing you over everything else. Best decision I ever made, too. Opening those elevator doors, taking a chance on something that seemed impossible. Ava appeared in the doorway, dragging her favorite blanket. Can we have hot chocolate? It's almost bedtime, Lucas said. Please? Just a little cup. I can't sleep yet. Olivia smiled. I'll make it. You want to help? Yes. They moved to the kitchen, the four of them, making hot chocolate while James dozed and Ava chattered about her day. Through the window, the last light faded from the sky, Chicago's lights beginning to sparkle in the distance. And Lucas thought about love. About how it came in unexpected packages. Arrived when you weren't looking, demanded courage and sacrifice, and the willingness to be vulnerable. About how the most important moments weren't always the big ones, not the proposals or weddings or births, though those mattered too. Sometimes the most important moments were the quiet ones. Hot chocolate on a Tuesday night, a sleeping baby on your shoulder, a daughter who still wanted to be tucked in even though she was getting too old for it. These small moments of connection, of presence, of choosing to be exactly where you were with exactly who you were with. That was love. Not the fairy tale kind that solved all problems and made everything easy, but the real kind. The kind that grew stronger through challenges, the kind that required constant choice and recommitment, the kind that built something lasting out of two broken people who'd been brave enough to try again. Later, after Ava was asleep and James was in his crib and the house was finally quiet, Lucas and Olivia sat on their back porch, stars scattered across the dark sky, a rare sight in the city. Thank you, Olivia said quietly. For what? For not giving up on me. When I was working too much. When I didn't know how to balance everything. When I was scared and pulling away. Thank you for the same, for showing up, for choosing us. Always, Olivia said, leaning against him. I'll always choose us. And sitting there under the stars, holding the woman he loved, with his children sleeping safely inside, Lucas felt something he hadn't felt since before Sarah died. Complete. Not because Olivia had filled some void Sarah left. Not because his life was perfect or problem-free, but because he'd learned something important over these past years. That love didn't replace other loves. It added to them, built beside them, created new chapters while honoring the ones that came before. That being broken didn't mean you couldn't be whole again. It just meant you were whole in a different way. That courage wasn't the absence of fear. It was choosing to try anyway. And that sometimes the best things in life came from the moments you least expected them. Like an elevator that stopped between floors. Like a CEO who looked at a maintenance guy and saw not his station, but his soul. Like a 7-year-old who decided waffles were the measure of a person's worth. Like choosing to open your heart one more time, even when everything told you it was safer to keep it closed. The wind picked up, carrying the smell of spring flowers and distant rain. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Lucas's business had a big project starting. Olivia had a consulting deadline. Ava had a school play. James would probably be up 3 times in the night. Life would continue in its beautiful, messy, complicated way. But tonight, right now, everything was exactly as it should be. And that was more than enough. It was everything.